27-year-old loan officer Richard Sinise is suing his former friend, loan officer Melissa Trekkie, for half the commission on a loan.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Sinise versus Trekkie. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Sinise, the defendant was a friend of yours for several years and a co-worker at a mortgage refinance company.
Yes.
Your lawsuit alleges that you brought in a customer to refinance his mortgage. He was a friend of yours. And then, unfortunately for you, you were violated on a parole violation and you were sent to jail. You asked the defendant if she would like to finish the loan application with the agreement that she would split the commission with you. She agreed. And you were in prison for how long?
6 months, ma'am.
When you got out of jail, you called her and said, "Where's my check?" And she says, "I'm not giving you your half of the check because I did all the work." That's your defense.
Basically. I have a little bit more to say about it.
Well, I hope not much more, madam. Let's see what we can agree upon.
Okay.
How long have you been working at this mortgage finance company?
Approximately a year.
And how much of a commission do you get when you refinance a loan?
It was 60% of all of the total fees that were involved in the loan.
So let's say I want to refinance a $100,000 mortgage. What would your commission be?
I'd probably make about $2,500.
What's your friend's name?
Paul, ma'am.
That's not him, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. Very good. Paul, step up, please.
Sure.
Paul, why did you want to refinance this loan?
I was going to invest in some other property I had, and it seemed like the interest rates were right at the time.
So you contacted your friend?
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was in the business. He told me he had just started working there, so.
You thought you'd give him the business?
Absolutely.
When was this?
I would say probably end of October, maybe the beginning of November, we started talking about it.
Of 2005?
Yes, correct.
And did you ultimately refinance your house?
Yes, I did.
Through the company that they worked for?
Yes, that's right.
And how much was the refinance?
I don't remember the exact, but I think it was around $250 something.
Mr. Sinise, how much was it?
The total refinance was $235,000, ma'am.
Is that correct, Ms. Trekkie?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was the commission on that?
I ended up making $4,660. I have to check that. $4,666.51.
That was your entire commission?
Yes.
Now, when you found out that you were being violated, by the way, what were you violated for?
Dirty urine, ma'am.
Not smart. Right?
Right.
When you found out that you were going back to serve the rest of your term, what was your conversation with the defendant?
I had called the defendant that night, and I knew she was in financial hardship, and I could have used the money as well to make my car payments while I was away. So I asked her if she would be willing to finish the loan, and we would split the commission 50-50, and she agreed to that.
Okay. The loan was completed, and you got no money.
Correct.
Okay, Ms. Trekkie, now I'm waiting for the explanation.
Okay. When this all happened, he asked me to do the loan. There was nothing done on the loan initially. He had just talked to him and said, okay, I'm going to refinance your house. So
he was the rainmaker.
Excuse me?
You know what that means, rainmaker?
No.
That means he brings in the business. Because without his bringing in the business, there would have been nothing for you to share.
Correct.
So he didn't do anything on the loan but bring in the business.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Initially, the loan amount was supposed to be over $300,000. We went over the paperwork, the disclosures that he had printed out from when he, put the loan together.
When who put the loan together?
In the computer, put the loan together. You just print out paperwork.
So he had done something.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
He put something in a computer.
Yes, he did.
That's more than I could do. Go ahead.
Okay. We had gone over exactly what the loan was going to be like, and like I said, the loan amount was going to be larger because he had stated to me that he knew the value of the property, which was...
All right, you thought it was going to be $300,000. It turned out to be $235,000.
No, it was supposed to be about probably $50,000 more, correct. So, the loan amount. Because he wanted... Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, I asked him where he got that figure from, because that obviously makes...
You got to get to a point.
Okay. So, he made up the value of the property. When I found out the real value, we had to cut the original amount that we were supposed to split. We were supposed to split $9,000. That was the original total fee.
You could have backed out any time. Ms. Trekkie, first of all, this loan was completed... Listen to me. Hey, the loan was completed what month and year?
It happened just after January 1st, 2006.
Okay. Since January 1st, 2006, How much money have you made at the company?
Well, I left that company probably a few months later than that. I would say $10,000.
Since January 1st, 2006, how much money have you made?
$50,000.
I hope that the IRS is listening very carefully. How much money have you made since January 2006?
To be honest, I didn't file my last taxes. So,
Ms. Trek.
yes.
If you decided when you got into this loan with Mr. Zemanek that the loan amount was inadequate for you to break a sweat and complete, you had that opportunity. But you had a contract with Mr. Sinise. Your contract with Mr. Sinise was you were going to split the commission. It wasn't I will split the commission with you of $9,000.
That was what our
No, it was not. Because that amount fluctuates. You got $4,666.51. Now, do you think that I think that Mr. Sinise said to you, I will split the commission, but if it's $4,666.51, you can keep it all yourself?
No.
No. No.
But when you're dishonest with somebody about the original contract, and I found that out through the
Say
process.
no, my dear. Say I don't want to do the loan.
Well, he was in jail, so I
So
couldn't
I'd
tell
say,
him that,
Mr.
and
Zemanek, I don't want to do your loan. It's not worth my while to do
Well,
your loan
I
for
still could make the money.
$4,666.51. I would rather make nothing. I would rather make nothing than make $2,300. It's not worth it to me to make this lowly amount of money, especially when I don't have to share it with the government.
Well, I got an extension. I am filing them.
No, the time to file, madam, is past. Let me explain something to you. It passed October 15th. If you got a 6-month extension, it's over. Finished. They're going to come looking for you. They're going to steal your clothes. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,333. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's like that? I definitely didn't backstab my friend because we had been friends since then. He told me to forget about the money until he got mad at me.
She didn't want to do me a favor when I was incapable of doing it myself.
Because I didn't do him a favor and get perfume for his girlfriend.
1 cent just cost her over $2,300.
He's a punk.
Tina Smoot is suing ex-boyfriend John Bambino for a loan she made him while he was between jobs. John claims Tina manipulated him with her money.
All rise.
This is case number 515 on the calendar in the matter of Smoot versus Bambino. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Smoot, you and the defendant were dating, according to your complaint, and you loaned him some money.
Yes.
Mr. Bambino acknowledges that you gave him money, but he said it was just that. It was a gift. There was no indication when you gave him this money that you expected repayment of the money. You were sort of helping him out at a time that he needed to be helped out financially. He's counterclaiming because he says that in a fit of rage, you damaged his car, his clothes, and he also believes that you harassed him. That's his counterclaim. So tell me when you met him.
I met him in August of last year.
And when did you lend him the money?
In December of last year.
Tell me about it.
John had lost his job and he couldn't pay his rent.
When did he lose the job?
November.
What kind of job did you have, Mr. Bambino?
Car salesman, ma'am.
How long did you have that job with that company?
7 months.
Before that, where did you work?
He's a correction officer for the state of New Jersey.
How long were you working there?
15 years.
Go ahead.
In December, I was coming into some money through a lawsuit, and I had extra money, and, you know, he asked me to lend him his rent money for the month of December, and that's what it was. I lent him the money.
How much was it?
It was $1,200.
$1,200 for rent. Go ahead.
And one bill is $452.07.
What was that for?
A home entertainment system.
Who bought a home entertainment
that
system?
I bought for him, that he was supposed to pay me back for.
No. Miss Smoot, listen to me carefully. If somebody doesn't have money to pay his own rent, then you don't buy him a home entertainment center and expect him to pay you back. You're not a baby, right?
Right, Your Honor.
What else?
Cable bill, $100. I have a check that he wrote, that I gave him a blank check to take to the doctors that has his name in the memo for $80.
Did she give you a blank check to pay a doctor?
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
A gas bill for $100 in December.
$100 even?
Well, it was, his gas bill was way more than that, but I only paid $100 on it.
Go ahead.
2 checks for food, one for $87.40, and one for $42.71
Made out to whom?
to Acme.
Did you use those 2 checks?
No,
No,
ma'am.
I wrote them.
He doesn't know you for that.
Okay,
What else?
that's it.
Okay, Mr. Bambino. Ball is in your court, sir. Where are you working now?
Chevrolet 73.
So you're back to work.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So Ms. Smoot says that you said, if you pay my rent, as soon as I get a job, I'll pay you back. You say that's not true. Tell me what happened, Mr. Bambino. By the way, how old are you, sir?
43.
Have you been married?
Yes, ma'am.
You have children?
I have 2 daughters,
How old are they?
17 and 24.
When did you last live with them?
I have custody of my younger. Actually, I've had custody of both since my divorce in '98. I have custody of my youngest now.
So how are you supporting the children?
My mother helps me out, but I mean, I just ran into a tough time between, like, let's say the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I started my new job January 5th.
Right.
So it was approximately 6
So
weeks.
what you're telling me is your mother helps you out.
She helped me out in that particular time frame, yes, in the beginning of January.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I met Tina, as she said, in the middle of August. We started the date.
Would you try looking at me
I'm sorry, yes,
rather than
ma'am,
keeping
sure.
your eyes closed? It's disrespectful.
I'm sorry. I met her in the middle of August at a club over in Philadelphia. Approximately 2 weeks later, she accused me of staring at a woman on the track. She told me to get in her Jeep. She started to give me a ride, which was the ride from hell. She just started driving down the interstate, doing approximately 70, 75 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic.
But after that, you took money from her.
No, well, ma'am, it's...
Listen to me. After that, you took money from her. So I'm not interested in a ride
I didn't
from
take
hell.
money.
Yes, you did.
She gave me the money, ma'am.
That's not what I said. I said you took money from her.
Yes.
After the ride from hell, which would have put me in a different county from somebody like that, you took money from her.
Yes.
Right. Did you think that the story you were going to tell me was going to make you a sympathetic character?
Not at all.
Good. Let's get to the money. Come on.
Oh, well, after several pretty bizarre things that Tina pulled between September and December, I tried cutting off the relationship several times. Tina's texts me 15, 20 times a day, calls me, begs me to let her back into our relationship, start our relationship over.
Is this your child?
No, ma'am. She's a witness in this factor. Tina, I let back in approximately 7, 8 times between September 1st all the way up to the February 11th. She just constantly says I'm cheating on her.
You want to know something? You want to tell the sad story? Go on Dr. Phil. Right. I want to know about the money.
The money. Tina would manipulate things and try to get me to let her back in. And after 3 or 4 weeks of constant texting me every day and please begging me to let her come back and start the relationship over, I did it several times. Tina...
Bambino, listen to me carefully. Get to the money.
I am?
In December, she may be desperate and she may find something about you attractive. Mr. Bambino, I do not.
I know that.
You are 43 years old. You look every day of it.
I know.
And then some. And Mr. Bambino, and then some. I have children who are 43 years old, sir. That's not you. That's the first thing. Second thing is, let's get to the money in December. Excuse me, you date him? No. Perfect. Get to the money.
All right, I let Tina come back over in early December. She laid $1,200 on my couch and said, pay your bills with this. I don't care when you give it back to me, just pay your bills. She insisted. I did pay. I paid my rent with it, of course. The other things, utilities, she paid $100 for the heating bill.
Mr. Bambino, how do you think Miss Smoot knew that you didn't pay your utility bills and that you didn't pay your rent? How do you think?
By communicating with
By you telling
me.
her. And it was that kind of casual conversation that inspired her to leave the $1,200 on the table for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. And it was at that time that you were concerned about her bizarre behavior that she exhibited 6 or 7 times?
Over that 6-month frame, yes.
Now, you were a corrections officer for 15 years, sir. You knew that there were certain prisoners that were dangerous,
Sure.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were dealing with a dangerous prisoner, there were certain protocols. You made sure that you didn't put yourself in harm's way. That was your training, right?
Absolutely.
So here you're dealing with a lunatic, somebody who over the course of 6 or 7 months is doing crazy, bizarre things. So instead of cutting it off, you know where the courthouse is. So if you know if somebody is stalking you, somebody is annoying you, you go to the courthouse and you say, this person is stalking me, annoying me, I need a protective order. Instead, you had somebody stalking you, you took their money. No. You took their money. I didn't say loan, I didn't say gift, I said you took their money. Well, you did, you just told me that, Mr. Bambino. You told me she was stalking you, harassing you, doing all kinds of bizarre things, and she put $1,200 down on the table, and she paid your bills, and you took it. That's what you just told me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
A very nice man.
No, you're not. If she's a nut, what you're supposed to do is not be a cad.
And later today...
Did you say to your daughter, listen, you did me a favor, I'll take care of getting the car inspected, tagged. Did you say that to her?
No,
That's
I did
what
not.
a mother does. That's what a mother does.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tina Smoot claims ex-boyfriend John Bambino owes for a loan to help with his living expenses. John is countersuing for harassment and claims Tina intentionally damaged his property.
Okay. Now, it is your claim, Mr. Bambino, your counterclaim, that the plaintiff damaged your property, harassed you, and damaged your clothing. You want to tell me when that happened and where?
Yeah, first week in November, Tina was going to North Carolina for a wedding.
And when did she give you the money, sir?
December.
On a sympathy scale, sir, of 1 to 10, this is about going to be a -5, because what you're going to tell me is that she, again, acted like a nut, but you took money from her the next month, right?
Yes.
Keep going.
She told me she would let me borrow her Jeep. I dropped off my friend's automobile that I was using at the time, which was a female friend of mine for 18 years. Tina, in the process, went in the glove box and found out who the car belonged to. She took a pen and ripped the whole roof of the inside of the car, ripped the leather on the seats, took a soda and threw it all over my clothes in the back. That's the incident in November.
Why did you do that, Tina?
I didn't go to that extreme.
What did you... Tina.
What happened?
Why did you do it?
I didn't do that, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. You did some of it.
I called him and told him to bring my Jeep.
What did you do to the stuff
I
in the car?
poured soda on his clothes, that was all.
You poured soda on his clothes. Is there a police report with regard to the damage to this friend's car?
No, ma'am, but I have pictures.
It's not your car.
It's not my car.
Did you fix the car?
Not yet.
Then you're not the person who can file this claim against Miss Smoot. That would be the car owner.
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as throwing soda on your clothes,
So what?
you owe $1,480. You have to be a nice man, Mr. Bambino.
I'm a very nice man.
No, you're not. If she's a nut, you're not supposed to take advantage of people who are not balanced. If you actually believe that Miss Smoot is not balanced, then what you're supposed to do is not be a cad and take advantage of her financially. You're supposed to say, I don't want your money. I don't want it as a gift. I don't want it as a loan. I don't want you in my life. I don't want that at all, because I don't think you're balanced. I think that you should take this money and use it well by going to see a doctor who will maybe give you some medication to help you feel better. Instead, what you did is you took advantage of her because you're not a nice person. Nice people don't take advantage of sick people. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,480. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was all a big joke. To him, anyhow.
That's totally not the case. It's totally not the case.
She thinks that something's going on between us. We're just co-workers. She's a little insane. She needs some medicine.
That's what she thinks.
I feel bad because she's not a bad person. She's got 2 beautiful daughters.
First of all, I don't have 2 daughters. I have a daughter and a son.
I'm not going to date women ever again.
I will never let anybody take advantage of me again.
I'm going to do a background check and, do what I got to do.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Breeden versus Strybe. Step forward, please.
23-year-old Michelle Breeden is suing her mother, Ollie Strybe, for breaking their agreement regarding the sale of a home. Michelle says Ollie kept proceeds that were supposed to go to her.
Ms. Breeden, the defendant is your mother. You and your husband and child or children?
2 children.
2 children. Moved into a home that your mother bought, and the idea was that you would live there with an option to buy it. At such a time when your credit became substantial enough for you to get a mortgage and your finances sort of settled down, While you were living there, you claimed that you made certain improvements in the house, invested close to $4,000. And then, according to you, your mother decided that since the housing market had taken off, she was no longer interested in selling you the house at the price that she had paid for it, which was your agreement. But she wanted to sell it on the open market, which she did at a profit. And you believe that she should pay you for the money that you invested in improving the house.
Yes, sure.
That's the lawsuit.
Yes.
Your mother says that you and your husband, was it your husband, separated. You were no longer interested in purchasing the house. You moved out. She did, in fact, sell the house at a profit. But it is her claim that you were the one who told her, I can't buy the house anymore because we're separated. So she sold the house to somebody else. When did you purchase this house, Ms. Strybey?
In April 2004.
And how much did you pay for it?
$102,500.
And what was the financial arrangement with your daughter with regard to how much rent she was going to pay?
She agreed to pay the mortgage payment on the house.
Which was how much, Ms. Breeden?
It was just shy of $900, Your Honor.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me when you were advised by your mother that she was planning on selling the house.
I was advised about 6 months prior to moving out that she was going to sell the house because she was no longer interested in selling us the house at what she paid for it. She was interested in making a profit off of us and wanted to sell the home to us for nearly $160,000.
That wasn't the original
Just a
agreement.
second. Did you discuss that with your mother? You said you found out. Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I had a conversation with Ollie. I told her that I couldn't make payments on $160,000, so we decided that we were no longer going to buy it because she wanted so much more for it.
Okay. Now, what was your arrangement with your mother at the time she purchased the house?
When she purchased the house, she was going to let us move into it. We were going to cover the mortgage for 1 year, and then after 1 year, we were going to try to get our finances in a situation that we could get appropriate financing.
And what happened in 2005?
Right after my second child was born, we went in to get a mortgage. It was not satisfactory. We discussed renting it longer from her. That was fine with her. A couple months into 2005, she was trying to buy another home for herself. So she discussed selling the home if we could not buy it from her. I said, well, we've already put nearly $4,000 worth of our own money into it. And if you sold it, I would at least like to get that money back out of it to use as a down payment if we chose to move somewhere else. That was fine with her. We moved out the end of February, and she put the house on the market in March. It took her till November 1st to sell the home.
Gotcha.
When she sold the home, I came to her halfway through November, and she said something about she didn't want to discuss it through the holidays, so I came back to her at the beginning of January of 2007. By that time, she said that she didn't have the money and that she thought that since she had to pay the mortgage from the time we moved out to the time it sold, that she believed she no longer owed us the amount that we were asking for.
Gotcha. Okay. Now we'll hear you.
Michelle and her husband were expecting their second child and living in a hotel. And although Michelle and my husband doesn't get along very well, I didn't want them to be living in a hotel when the second child.
So you
so
made
we
this
bought
arrangement.
this house for them.
Got it.
The arrangement was that she would pay the mortgage payment for the year.
I got it so far. There are certain things that are not contested. You were a nice mom, bought the house, let them live in it, covered the mortgage payment, and then there came a time when you wanted to buy another house. You couldn't buy another house because you already had this house. So let's go.
The arrangement was for her to buy the house at the end of a year. I told her I'd give her a year.
She
so
said that.
At the end of that year, she didn't have her finances fixed.
Got it. That's what she said.
So her husband had moved out. She said that she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore with him paying for someplace else to live, and that she was fine with me going ahead and putting the house on the market, and that they would move out. Our original agreement for the year was at the end of the year, if I sold her the house, I would credit her how much she's paid for the mortgage, so that would cover her 10% down she needed to buy it herself.
I'm talking about the $3,900 that your daughter says you discussed at the time she moved out, that she had invested in improving the house, and that you had said to her, the time when the house is sold, I'll give that back to you.
I don't remember that conversation, not when she was moving out. I only discussed with her when we first bought the house that any improvements she made in the house at that time, if she didn't buy the house, I would pay her back for it at the end of the year.
Oh, fine. So that discussion was had. Fine. Let me see what you put into the house. How much did you sell the house for, Ms. Strybey?
$140,000. 9.5.
Okay. What did you tile?
We tiled about 1,000 square feet, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, both bathrooms, and a hallway. The only thing in the house that wasn't tiled was the 3 bedrooms.
She bought the tile and I put it down.
It's fine. You got the profit. How much did you clear, Miss Strybey?
Altogether, we probably made about $20,000 off the house.
Okay.
And I did give her, during this period when we were selling the house, they had repossessed her van and she had no transportation. So I signed over my 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee to her.
That agreement for that Jeep has nothing at all to do with the home. My first child, I gave up to adoption within this period of time. And
This
I
had
was
nothing
going
to do with the adoption.
I was going to give it to a couple that was in Miami that I did not know. And she came to me and said that since I did not have a car, and if I gave my child to her friends, she would give me the car, and her friends are very good people. But that was the agreement for the Jeep, and that has nothing at all to do with this home.
That's not true. I would never offer to sell my grandchild. That was what he needed because he had already been taken out of her possession once and placed with me for custody.
How old is he?
He's 6. He's 2 weeks younger than my 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old as well. And during this period, which is why the husband moved out, is because he was taken away from them and put in my custody.
This still has nothing to do with the house, Your Honor.
It did, and that was the point where she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore.
Where is your husband now?
My husband right now is in Cocoa, Florida.
Do you live with him?
No, I do not.
Who do you live with?
I live with 2 roommates, and I cover 1/3 of the rent. My friend Lisa and her husband cover 1/3 of the rent, and then my brother-in-law and his wife cover the other 1/3 of the rent.
Are you still married?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
This arrangement just happened within the last few weeks because her husband's been in jail.
At the time that you were living in this house, who was working, you or your husband?
My husband was working, and I owned my own business.
What kind of business?
It was a children's consignment shop.
That I helped her open.
So you were both working?
Yes.
So whatever money you invested in the house, you would only be entitled to half of this. Is that right? The other half would be your husband's?
Yes, Your Honor, if you want to look, yes, that would be correct.
Okay. You think your mother has been reasonable or unreasonable with you?
I think my mother has been selfish and incapable of being a mother.
In the relatively short time, Ms. Strybey, that I have to spend with you, I'm never going to be able to figure out the pathology of your family.
Mm-hmm.
But it clearly seems to me that your daughter, whether rightfully or wrongfully, labors under the assumption that you had an agreement, which I find to be potentially a valid agreement, that whatever improvements they put into the house that might inure to your benefit when you sold the house, you would reimburse her for if the house wasn't sold to them. That's a reasonable expectation. And truth is, you sold the house for a profit. And if it were me, I would have said, you know what? She's not in great shape. Let me give her what she put into it and let her move on. That's what I would have done.
I did offer, when she started looking for another home right away, I went out with her and I was more than willing to help her find another home. And if she at some point in the future, was going to buy one, her father and I had already discussed, we would each pay half the deposit. I've given her lots of money.
I assume
I've given
that's
her,
true.
But I've always made her pay me back, and I think she's very ungrateful.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $19.50, which represents 1/2 of the amount that you invested in the house. The other half is not your claim, belongs to your husband.
Okay.
Got it? Good. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've been given a mother who's incapable of loving me, yet comes off as trying to be this star person, and she's not.
Michelle has a lot of anger issues over me divorcing her father when her and her brother were young.
She wouldn't have been able to sell that house for what she did if we had made the improvements to it.
I've helped her with every apartment, every bill, every vehicle.
She claimed that she didn't have the money to give me back that we put into the home, but then she instead, that same exact month, went out and dropped $5,000 on a jacuzzi, another $5,000 on breast augmentation. So that apparently ranks higher in the scheme of her life than her daughter.
I don't think I owe her any explanation for what we do with our finances.
Maybe a last chance effort of getting some type of recognition from her.
I understand where she's coming from.
I've forgiven her over a course of a lifetime for the things that she's done, but I would have to be very stupid to accept her back into my life.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Paradeza versus McQuay Jackson, step forward, please.
18-year-old Jenny Paradeza is suing schoolmates Samuel and Stephen McQuay and their mother, Evelyn Jackson. Jenny claims the boys stole her school backpack.
You can sit down.
Thank you.
Ms. Paradeza,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're a high school student?
Yes, that's correct.
According to your complaint, you had some trouble with your car one day in school, and security guard was helping you out, getting it started, and you put your book bag and your valuables down on the ground.
Yeah.
And your property was stolen. And it is your claim that the defendants and others were responsible for taking your property, and you want the value of the property that was taken and a little bit extra to punish them.
Correct.
The defendants, while they acknowledge that they were there, say that they didn't take the property and they're not responsible. When was your property taken?
It was October 3rd.
And it was at the school?
It was during lunch.
And where had you left your book bag?
It was on the sidewalk in our parking lot.
Why didn't you take the book bag and put it in your car?
Well, after I figured out that my car wasn't starting, I panicked, so I put my stuff on the floor. I wasn't even
Well, I
thinking
understand
about
that you
the
put your stuff on the floor. It would have been smarter to take your stuff instead of putting it on the floor,
Yeah,
putting it in your car,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Now, when did you find that it was missing?
After I turned off my engine, I went back and looked on the sidewalk, and it wasn't there.
Good.
And
Now,
then-
what makes you believe that these two young men had anything to do with taking
Well,
your bag?
After I had told the security guard that my stuff was stolen, they took me back to their office, and we went over the surveillance cameras that are in the parking lot, and it showed my backpack on the floor, and then it showed that after the boys had passed my backpack, it was gone.
And these two boys were in that group?
Yes, they were.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Gentlemen,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your name?
Sam McQuay, Jr., Stephen McQuay.
Brothers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Better. Who was with you that day when you passed this backpack?
My friend Jonte and Antoine and Eric.
Who took the bag?
My friend Antoine.
And what did he do with the bag after he took it?
He ran to the second floor to the bathroom
How do you know that?
because I was right outside the bathroom when he took it.
Who else was outside the bathroom door?
Me and my brother.
So you were looking out.
No.
You were the
No, Your Honor.
lookouts?
No.
How big is the school? How big is the school?
Big.
How many floors?
3.
And how many rooms on each floor?
Don't know.
How many kids go to the school?
Don't know.
More than 500?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there are lots of classrooms. So you mean it's just coincidental that after Antoine took the bag and went to the bathroom, you happened to be standing outside the same bathroom?
I was with him when he took the backpack, then we went to the second floor together.
We. Good. We took the backpack. He physically had the backpack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But the word that you used was we. We took the backpack. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
This is your mom?
Yes.
So glad that you brought them. You know why I'm glad that you brought them, Miss Jackson?
Why is that?
Because he actually thought that he was going to be able to fool me. He actually did.
No, I didn't, actually.
Well, I read your answer, and your answer said you didn't have anything to do with this.
I didn't. I was with my friends at the time.
No, you just said to me, we took the backpack. And then we went to the second floor. You and your brother stood outside the bathroom door, acting, now I'm going to use the word, because you didn't, look out. Now, in a school where there are probably 1,000 students, 3 floors, the fact that you serendipitously wound up standing outside the bathroom door while your friend Antoine and Jonte were inside going through the backpack is something that I don't buy. It wasn't an accident that you were outside the bathroom, making sure nobody was coming in while they were rummaging through her backpack. It was an on purpose. So it doesn't make any difference who it was that actually had their hand on the backpack. You were all involved in taking it and making sure that the rightful owner didn't get it back. That's what it means when you act as a lookout.
We wasn't looking out, Your Honor. We was
No.
talking to some friends. We weren't looking out. We didn't have
Just
nothing,
talking to some friends outside the same bathroom where Antoine was going through the backpack.
because that's where they were.
Just listen to my statement, sir. Just coincidentally, you went from the street where Antoine took the backpack, followed him to the bathroom. He went into the bathroom to check out the backpack. and you were standing outside talking to some friends. It would seem to me if you had nothing to do with this taking of the backpack, you would want to get as far away from Antoine as possible.
And that's exactly why we went to the gym.
No, your brother just told me you were standing outside the bathroom.
After we were standing at the bathroom for a minute, we went to the gym. And then they left out and went to the lunchroom.
How do you know they left and went to the lunchroom?
Because we seen them that day, after that day.
No. Let's see what you say here. Let's see what you say here. Sam. Who's Sam?
That's me.
That would be you. I followed the guys all the way up to the second floor hallway. The other kids took the bag in the bathroom. My brother and I stayed in the hall near the bathroom only because we ran into a friend. The kids came out of the bathroom with an identification card and the backpack and threw it in the trash. No one had any money. That's not, we just stayed there and then we went out and we didn't see them come out of the bathroom. We just found out about it in the lunchroom. You say, Sam, that you saw them come out of the bathroom with an identification card and the backpack and threw it in the trash. Were you lying here?
Nope, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little different story than you just told me, young man. You think you're smarter than I am? Never in your life. Never in your life. If you live to be 104, will you be smarter than I am this day?
I will. Maybe so, Your Honor.
You will?
Yeah, maybe so.
Never happen. Never.
How would you know?
Because you're there and I'm here. That's how I know.
That's what you think.
That's how. Because you're there and I'm here. That's because in 5 minutes I was able to catch you so far in 2 lies. Not 1, but 2.
Tell me those 2 lies.
Listen, it's not my job to tell you. I'll give you a copy of the tape, sir. You can go home and watch it yourself. Then you can kick yourself in the behind with your own foot. You're responsible, just as if you took the backpack.
Okay.
You are responsible for standing outside that bathroom and acting as a lookout while your friends rummaged through it. And if they had come up with a whole bunch of money, they would have given you some of it.
The point is, Your Honor, we didn't take nothing.
I'm not speaking to you. Close your mouth until I talk to you. How much was your backpack worth?
Well, everything that was stolen was about $750.
Like what? Give me what was stolen.
My wallet.
What was in your wallet?
It was $50.
Okay.
I had to replace all my IDs. I had gift cards in there, my earpiece, and a calculator.
There was no earpiece in there, ma'am.
I love it. I love it. Judging for the plaintiff for the amount of $500. That's what I think it's worth, madam. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There were some things that they said that I would have done the same thing that Judge Judy did.
I think it was good. I'm not worried about anything because I have everything.
I mean, they got caught in a couple lies.
The security guard had talked to 2 of the boys.
They didn't want to take the ID and money. We didn't take nothing. The reason why I said the earpiece because John Tate and Antoine told me what was in the backpack.
They obviously knew, what had happened.
I didn't have nothing to do with it. Why should I feel bad for somebody else?
I don't know any of them. Until today, I don't even know what they look like.
Next time they see somebody doing something wrong, don't be with them while they're doing it. Walk away. Just don't be involved.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Matthews versus Hadsall. Step forward, please.
24-year-old Thomas Matthews is suing his ex-fiancée, 29-year-old Janice Hadsall, for the return of the engagement ring. Janice claims she sold the ring to pay bills.
Mr. Matthews, according to your complaint, you and the defendant became engaged.
Yes, ma'am.
You bought her a ring. You were supposed to move into a new townhouse.
Yes.
So far, that's correct. Is that right?
No. Thomas and I had never gotten engaged.
According to your complaint, you bought her an engagement ring.
Yes.
And you wanted to move into a townhouse. In order to do that, you had to break your lease. And you paid the bills to do that, to break the lease.
Yes.
So that you could move into this new townhouse together.
Yes.
After you paid those bills, you found out that Miss Hadsall was sort of friendly with her ex-husband again. Are you now living in the townhouse, sir?
Yes.
And is living in the townhouse with the ex-husband, which was facilitated through your paying the bills to get her out of her old lease.
Correct.
That's
so
not
you
true.
want 2 things. You want the engagement ring back, and you want the bills that you paid.
Yes.
Let's talk about the ring first.
Okay.
You have it?
No, I don't.
Where is it?
Well, when Thomas and I was supposed to move in the townhome, he agreed to help me with the bills and the utilities and stuff like that. When he and I had split up or broken up, that I had to sell not only that ring, but some other items that I had for
I don't believe
my
you.
bills.
I think you're a liar. I think you just didn't bring it because you didn't want to give it to me. That's what I think. How much was the ring?
$2,069.56.
Describe it to me.
It was white gold. I believe it was a carat and a half.
You have the bill for it?
Yes.
Well, that's what Kay Jewelers calls it, an engagement ring. And Kay Jewelers doesn't lie. Talk and talk fast.
We had started dating. We moved into an apartment together. We didn't like the apartment that we had gotten. He and I had some problems. We decided that after we were going to move out of the apartment together, that we went ahead and split up, and he moved out immediately into his parents' home. We had talked about, before we moved into the townhome, possibly getting back together. The day after we got back together, he told me to meet him at the apartment, that he had a gift for me. When he showed up at my place, he gave me the ring. And I told him, you do understand that we just got back together, that we're not getting engaged? He said, that's fine. He had asked me, when do you think would be a good time to get engaged? And I told him, not even for a year from now.
You're
And
not
he
a
said that
nice
was
person.
fine.
You're not a nice person. Because whether you said it or not, bottom line is, you're old enough to know what an engagement ring looks like. And if you accept it, and if later you go back to your ex-husband, you be a nice person, and you give him back his ring so he doesn't feel like a fool. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Sometimes in a relationship, you are either the dumper or the dumpee. You got dumped on. The second part of your claim is that you got dumped on because you paid the bills to get her out of a lease so that she could move into a place that she really liked. And she did move into a place she really liked, only not with you. That's something that's not nice, but it's not something that's actionable in a court.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
When you filed for divorce against ex-husband, were you the plaintiff or defendant?
The plaintiff.
And what did you allege in the action for divorce? Don't say You remember. What were the grounds for divorce?
He had an alcohol problem.
So he was abusive?
Not physically abusive, mentally abusive.
He was abusive, right?
Yes.
Because when you have an alcohol problem, you're not only abusive to you, you're abusive to your children, right?
Not technically.
Oh, not technically.
No.
No. How do you think I'm so smart? You think he doesn't have an alcohol problem now?
No.
You don't think that?
No, I don't.
And you brought him back into the lives of your children.
Yes, I did.
That makes you doubly stupid. But that's your prerogative. Meanwhile, you owe him $2,070 for the engagement ring since it's not here. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You step out.
I think she was not very understanding at all.
I just wanted to get my stuff back and be done with her.
Thomas had to buy people's love and affection.
I don't need to buy affection. I have a lot of people who love me and a lot of friends.
This is his way of getting back at me.
It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Being done with her and moving on with my life.
Bail bondsman Aaron McAllister is suing former client Elena Zadevich for unpaid bail money. Elena says Aaron was supposed to let her work off the bond.
Order, all rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 483 on the calendar in the matter of McAllister versus Davidge.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
What were you arrested for, Mr. Davidge?
I was arrested on false charges of domestic violence that my ex filed against me.
I didn't ask you whether they were true or not true. I asked, what were you arrested for?
I was arrested on allegations of domestic violence.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
Yes.
Look at me. Was
Yes.
it the first time you were arrested? The answer is either yes or no.
No.
Better. When was the first time you were arrested?
Several years ago.
Having nothing to do with domestic violence.
Has something to do with domestic violence.
So you have 2 arrests for domestic violence?
That's correct.
Was it the same complainant in each case?
Different.
Different. Okay. You are a bail bondsman?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your claim that you received a call from the defendant in jail. You responded. You bailed her out of jail at her request. She promised to pay for the bond. She did not. You want your money.
Yes.
Defendant says you're a sleazy bail bondsman and she's not paying you.
Correct.
When did you receive the call?
Sometime in the middle of the night from the county jail.
What night? I'm not Karnak. What night
I'm
would you
sorry.
like to tell me it is?
July the 15th.
In the middle of the night. You were home?
Correct. In bed.
How did you get his number?
It was posted on the wall in the county jail.
You have your home number posted in the wall in county jail?
No, ma'am. It's an office number that forwards to my cell phone in the evening and weekends.
I see. I wouldn't think that you'd want your house phone
No.
to have a number. Okay. What did the defendant say to you when she called?
That she was in jail and she had to get out. She had to get to work the next morning. If she didn't get out, she would lose her job.
What kind of job do you have?
I'm an executive assistant.
For whom?
For a small media startup.
How long have you had that job?
Close to a year.
10 months?
Something like that.
Where did you work before?
I was managing a medical spa.
Where?
Walnut Creek, California.
Okay. Have any family here?
Just my 2 children.
How old are they?
6 and 2.
They live with you?
Part-time.
Who do they live with the other part of the time?
Well, my son lives with his dad, and my daughter part-time lives with her paternal family.
Maternal or paternal?
Paternal.
Paternal. So the father's family, father's parents with her grandparents?
No, his brother and his family, they live very close by, about 10-minute drive from where I live, and she's there a lot because I work full-time.
Okay, so you had to get to work at the media startup company when you called him?
Correct.
Did you tell him that you were going to take care of paying his bail?
What happened was I told him that I didn't have any money.
No. When you called him on the phone from jail, you told him I don't have any money?
Correct.
Is that right?
No.
Of course not.
Right. I wouldn't.
Of course not, because if you tell you, please bail me out of jail, but I don't have any money, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, he's not getting out of his warm bed in the middle of the night. Madam.
Well, he did.
No. He did. The question was, did you tell him that you didn't have any money?
Yes, I did.
He says you didn't, and I'm saying I believe him that at that time you didn't tell him I have no money. Because if he's in business and he gets a call from a stranger, you are a stranger, right?
Correct.
That I want you to get up out of bed, drive over to the jail and bail me out. But by the way, I have no money. He'd say, call somebody else.
That's exactly what I said.
All right. I don't believe you. Go ahead.
We discussed that she had a CD, and the CD was maturing within the next 30 days, and that there would be ample
That she would have money.
Correct. In the CD to pay me out of the proceeds of the CD. And she didn't want to cash it in early because she'd want to pay the penalty. I agreed to those terms within 30 days that she would use the CD.
Was this on the telephone?
That was on the telephone.
Okay. Because you did ask her the question about money.
Correct.
And when you said, do you have money, what did she say?
I have a CD.
Okay. So, did you tell her how much the bail would be?
Correct. 10%, $5,000.
Because she had $50,000 bail?
Correct.
That's a high bail for domestic violence.
It is.
Do you know why it was so high?
That's per the schedule in that county. That's always $50,000 for a felony charge.
It was a felony.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we get her out. We memorialize our agreement in writing. She
Can I
signs
see it, please?
a bail contract and the agreement to pay.
Can I see it, please? Okay, so you signed an agreement to pay him the $5,000.
I had no choice. He made me sign it.
But
Madam,
listen to me very carefully, madam. You have a choice. Your choice is to stay in jail until the matter on which you were arrested for is tried. That's your choice. You chose.
We had a different agreement.
No. This is your agreement. This in here is your agreement, in the 4 corners of this agreement. And what I asked you was, did you sign this agreement? And the answer is either yes or no. Not
yes,
I was forced to sign.
I did sign that agreement, but aside from that, there was an oral agreement that took place between me and Mr. McCollister.
I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Once the agreement's signed, I get her out of jail. She says, now what do? I live 30 minutes from here. I agreed to give her a ride. She's worried about getting to work, so I give her a ride. And it's about 30 minutes away. So during that time, she tells me the entire story about the arrest, and I attempt to be understanding that, she was arrested, and I'm sorry, and that's a bad thing, and you're dealing with a breakup, and, how she caught her boyfriend with his new girlfriend laying on the couch that she paid for or she picked out. And the entire time in the car,
Would you look at me when you're telling me this story, Mr. McAllister? Look at me. Don't look down there.
Sorry. The entire time in the car, she says, I'm not a stalker, I'm not a stalker. I go, okay, sorry, you're not a stalker. No problem. Okay, I'll get you to your vehicle. Well, the vehicle's parked 3 blocks away from the house where she was living or where she was arrested. So there's obviously something going on there. Anyway, I get her out, she signs the agreement, and she refuses to pay me.
Just a second. When did she sign the agreement?
Immediately upon release from the county jail.
Okay. And then you drove her to her car.
Correct.
And you dropped her off at her car.
Yes.
And she never paid you.
Right. I made
When,
repeated
for the first time, did you contact her with regard to payment?
Well, within 10 days, we sent her an invoice, just a reminder of the payment terms, and sent her 4 or 5 subsequent invoices that went answered with these rambling letters talking
Do you have
about...
a copy of the letters?
I do.
Can I see them, please? Based upon our discussion, these are your words, when he initially asked you for your money. Based upon our discussion, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you and your business in lieu of paying you $5,000 for a relatively risk-free, as you put it, bond. I am still awaiting the opportunity to make good on my offer to work for your company. As you were advised at the time the bond was posted, I have not, or do not have now, $5,000 fee that you are demanding. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time of the unsecured bond was posted, I now consider your correspondence demanding $5,000 to be intimidating and threatening. What are you, crazy?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
On the way to my vehicle, he makes comments about my physical appearance, and he says, a pretty woman like you, maybe we can work something out.
And later today...
What's wrong with you? Don't you have any pride at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is it? Show me. Where is it?
I left it at the house.
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bail bondsman Aaron McAllister says former client Elena Zadevich owes for unpaid bail money.
Please do not send me any more threatening letters. You knew my financial predicament at the time bail was posted. I still intend to honor my promise to perform professional services for you. You never promised to perform professional services for him. Your own letter says, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you or your business in lieu of paying for the bond. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time, I now consider your... Discussions aren't a contract, madam.
Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah,
because he's not telling you the whole truth. What happened, he bails me out.
Are you, just a second, are you telling me the whole truth? Listen, are you telling me the whole truth?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
About your children's living arrangements, you're telling me the whole truth?
We're not talking about my children right now. I want to tell you.
You mean you're telling the truth? Listen to me.
happened.
You're telling the truth sometimes, and sometimes you can lie. And when am I supposed to tell the difference? You see, I knew that you were lying to me about your children's living situation. That you're not willing to discuss.
What did I lie about?
Listen to me. My question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're lying, and how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth?
I do tell the truth.
But you just lied to me today.
About what?
You lied about your children's living situation.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
How did I lie?
Oh, yes, you did. And you know you did. You know that they live with me part-time, they live with some part-time, they live here because I work. That's not the story. But that's a story you chose to tell me. Now, you told me that with the same veracity as you told me that you had another contract with him. And my question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth and when you're lying?
What I'm saying is the truth.
Okay. Now I'm going to hear you, and then I'll tell you what the law is.
Okay. Well, he bails me out. He drives me to my vehicle. On the way to my vehicle, he makes comments about my physical appearance, and he says, well, it would be nice if a pretty woman like you worked for my company doing some sort of marketing and promoting my company, and maybe we can work something out in terms of paying for the bail bond that he posted on my behalf. So when he dropped me off by my vehicle, and before he left, he made me sign the agreement that you saw after we had the conversation of me potentially working for his company.
Did you get what you said to me, madam? You just said to me, maybe you could work for my company. Maybe you could work for my company.
And
that's not an agreement.
No,
that's not. No. After that, nothing. You took that, and I believe that you said that to her. Well, maybe you could work for my company and do something. Maybe you said it to her. Who cares? It's not relevant. There was no
I
contract.
said I couldn't work for him full time as he proposed. So he
No,
said,
madam.
We can work something out, and you can work for me on weekends.
Your Honor.
Oh, listen to me. Listen to me. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
Yes.
No, I have
you
a
are, because
letter.
according to what you said to me, after you had that discussion, after, not before. You see, he said you signed this at the jail.
No.
You say I signed it after I had the discussion with him about working with him part-time, weekends, etc. If that was true, that's not contained in this agreement.
No.
And I believe, madam, that you are one smart cookie. And if he had this conversation with you where you made a contract with him, a contract that's enforceable, to work off the bail bond by working for him part-time, you would have put it in this agreement because you were already out of jail. So then you could either say to him, I'm not signing this, or you say, it's not the entire agreement that we have, but you didn't. You signed it and said, I promise to pay you $5,000.
Well, he told me right there that if you don't sign it, I'm just going to put you right back to jail. That's what he told me.
I don't believe you. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
You're making it up as you're going along, because if he said to you, you signed this or I'm going to take you back to jail.
That's what he said.
Your response would have been, well, then put in our agreement that I could work it off, right? Right?
I was very stressed.
Oh,
and I
listen,
didn't
it's
see
not the
what I
first
was
time you were arrested.
signing.
That's why I asked you the question before.
And
it's not the first time. It's probably not the second time that you were arrested. So pay him his money. You owe him his money. Don't be a con artist. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've offered to either work for his company
My family's been in business over 40 years,
in lieu of paying for the services.
and it didn't come from having criminal defendants work in my office.
It was his offer initially.
It's a bad deal. I'm sorry she had to go through what she went through,
So he reneged on the original agreement.
but I performed a service and I need to be compensated.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Schulteis versus Britton, step forward, please.
20-year-old Lisa Schulteis is suing her former friend, 20-year-old Kelly Britton, for the money she paid to go on a 2-day cruise to the Bahamas.
Tell me your first name.
My name is Lisa Schulteis. Kelly.
You two gals used to be friends, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And at some point, Kelly, you lived with Lisa and her family?
Yes, over the summer.
How long had you been friends?
We've been friends since 5th grade, about 10 years.
This is your lawsuit. Kelly was getting married,
Yes.
and she prepaid non-refundable tickets, allegedly, for her honeymoon. And that was going to be where?
The cruise was going to the Bahamas, Nassau.
And that was for you and your fiancé.
Yes.
And when the wedding sort of went off, you asked her if she wanted to go.
Yes.
Because these were non-refundable tickets. She said yes. And according to you, you paid her the $600
Yes.
for the ticket. Then you had a fight, and you said, I'm not going, and I want my money back. Now, Ms. Britton says two things. She said, first, you only gave her $200, and second, you decided not to go. That doesn't mean you get your money back, because ultimately, you did go on the trip,
Yes.
but you went with your mother. Other than the fact that you say that you gave her $600, is there any proof that you gave her $600?
I actually bought a 18-foot diameter swim pool. It's $268 and something change. I decided a month later that I did not want the swim pool anymore, that I would take it and use it towards a trip. So I took the swim pool back and I handed the money to Kelly right in front of my mom. I counted $270.
Okay, so that's $270.
Yes.
That's not $600.
I also, well, my mom was there that night.
So far I have $270.
I have proof if you'd like to see the receipts.
Receipts from what?
From the swim pool.
I believe the swim pool. I believe the swim pool. The swim pool is $270. That's not $600.
Yes.
I'm a witness to some of it.
Are you the witness to anything other than the $270?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Stand up. You're her mother?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
I seen Lisa give her her first payment. She come home and she handed her $70, the first payment. The second payment that I seen her give her was $60. And then the deal with the pool, it totaled like $400 I seen her.
You weren't there when she gave me the pool money, Donna.
Yes, I was.
But she gave you the pool money.
The last
And
part of
Zach
it.
was there
Well,
when he
just a
gave her the
second.
last of it. Zach seen her
Okay,
give him
sit down.
$95.
Ma'am, Honor. The last payment was $95. Zach, the witness, was over at my house that night. They were fighting. I came home from work. I handed Kelly the money. She told me I finished paying off the trip money, that we were pretty much ready to go. It was a week later we got into a fight, and I kicked her out July 21st.
Okay, $95 when?
That was July 10th, 2006. It was
And
a
when
Monday.
was the trip scheduled for?
August 5th.
Were you there that night, sir?
Yes, I was.
Good. That's all I asked you. Now, you had a fight. Ordinarily, because you had a fight with her less than 2 weeks before this trip,
Yes.
I would say, well, you decided not to go. You don't get the money back. However, Kelly, you took your mother.
Yes.
Why didn't your mother pay you?
My mother ended up paying me the other $200 that Lisa did not pay me.
That's
Well, shh. Miss Britton, you're fibbing. Either you're fibbing here or you're fibbing now. Because your answer says she only gave you $200, which means she owed you $400. And you just said to me, my mother gave me the $200 that she didn't give me, which means she gave you $400.
No, ma'am.
Were you just confused?
No, in my answer it says I told Lisa that since it was such short notice, it was only 2 months before the trip was even scheduled, that she could just pay me $400 because I know that, you know, she was just starting out her new career and she did not make a lot of money.
No, that's not correct.
Shh, don't speak now. Let me tell you something. Your mother should have taken care of it, madam. Your mother doesn't get to go on a free trip.
It wasn't completely free for her.
Shouldn't be free at all. This is the fiancé. I assume you're back together with him?
Yes.
He should have paid for it.
I originally did.
Then if you backed out and say, listen, sweetheart, we're not a team anymore, keep the money, find somebody to go with you. But you don't take him who backed out and your mother who went on the trip and charge her for the trip. That's ridiculous. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $495. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's mad because her boyfriend's a liar and she wants to blame me for it.
She was trying to get my boyfriend a drink.
They was trying to get me to drink moonshine.
She got mad about it and she came home in a rage and blamed me.
They were trying to get him to chew tobacco, and I got mad about it.
She woke me up at 1:30 in the morning screaming at me.
They told him, don't worry, we won't tell Lisa.
You're trying to break me and my boyfriend up. What are you doing? You're supposed to be my friend.
She just lied to me way too much.
They say what goes around comes around. Someday she'll get paid.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Torres versus Briley. Step forward.
Music producer Clifton Torres is suing the mother of his children, Brandy Briley, for destroying his music equipment. Brandy claims the equipment was broken prior to the incident in question.
Mr. Torres, you and Miss Briley had a relationship, according to what I read, and I assume that you lived together for a period of time. It is your claim that a year ago she ruined some of your musical equipment. You want her to pay so that you can purchase new equipment.
That's correct.
Miss Briley said that while the equipment that you are complaining about was in fact tossed over during this altercation, the altercation occurred because you pushed her and the equipment wasn't working so well to begin with. I have a few questions. You have children?
Yes, 2.
Are they your children together?
Yes.
How old are they?
2 and 5.
Who do they live with?
They live with me.
And how long have they lived with you? Alone?
Alone?
Without the defendant?
I guess approximately a year, maybe a little less.
Did they live with you, Mr. Torres, pursuant to a court order?
Yes.
Was there a contested custody proceeding?
No.
Miss Briley agreed for you to care for the children.
Correct.
Now tell me the date of this incident with your music equipment, please.
It was November 21st, and I came home from work. It was 5:30.
What kind of work were you doing?
At the time, I was working at a construction warehouse.
Could you keep your voice up, Mr. Torres?
I was working at a construction warehouse, and I came home at like about 5:30, and we had gotten into an argument.
About what?
Just about living arrangements, personal stuff, you know. We just had a lot of, disagreements about things.
Okay.
And the verbal argument turned kind of physical, pushing and shoving and whatnot. And as I left to leave, that's when the equipment was damaged. As I turned, because I was just trying to leave. As I turned to leave, I heard a smash on the floor. I turned around, and my equipment was on the floor, destroyed.
But it did not fall as a result of the altercation.
No, it happened after the altercation.
It happened when you were exiting.
Directly after. As I'm trying to leave, that's when it happened.
All right, Miss Briley, tell me about it.
Basically, he came home, we got in a disagreement.
You remember what the disagreement was about?
Our living arrangements and personal problems.
What does that mean?
We were just disagreeing on lots of different things. Like, for the most part, it was our living arrangements, but as he pushes me back because he doesn't want to listen to what I have to say.
Well, he's coming home from work. You're home all day. Is
yes,
that right?
Yes.
You're home all day with 2 children.
Yes.
2 very small children,
yes.
right? Did you ever have any drug or alcohol problem?
No.
Never.
No.
You hesitated for a moment.
Well, I have drank before, but I've never had a problem with it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, he pushes me back. I go to get my balance on the stand where the NPC equipment was, and it goes to slide off. And I did help it go to the ground. Like, I didn't try and catch it or anything, but my main argument is it was already broken before any of that ever happened.
Tell me about it already being broken before.
Well, as you know, I stay at home every day, so I did all the cleaning, and it had been in the box for a period of time. And I know he said he wasn't using it for a while, so I would assume it wasn't working.
Well, you can't make any assumptions, so you don't know that it wasn't working.
From what I understood from him, it wasn't.
Did you ever tell her the equipment wasn't working?
No, I have a picture of the equipment. It actually, it was actually in the box. I have a picture of the box.
Can I see it, please?
It's basically a computer.
So what she's telling me, sir, is that she actually did break the equipment, because that's what she said in so many words. She said, well, it started to fall and I sort of helped it. What kind of work do you do, Miss Briley?
I work with the developmentally disabled at a day treatment program.
How much money do you earn?
Is that relevant?
Yes. Anything I ask is relevant.
How would you like it then? Weekly?
Weekly,
hourly,
bi-weekly, however you're paid.
I make about $2,000 a month after taxes.
How much do you pay in child support?
Currently, I don't pay child support. I assist with getting their needs. Like, I went school shopping for my son. I help buy diapers.
Mr. Torres.
Yes.
You are the full-time custodial parent of these children?
That's correct.
You're supposed to collect child support for them. Do you understand that, sir?
Your Honor, when we made the agreement for custody or whatnot, there was a verbal agreement, basically, that she was going to help out in certain things, and I wasn't supposed to receive child support for 6 months, so...
6 months is now passed, sir.
Right. It was a couple months before we got into court, before we made that agreement, and it's been almost 6 months since then, so it hasn't been exactly 6 months.
Well, what I'm telling you, Mr. Torres, is it is not your right to have a support order fixed for your children.
Right.
It is the children's right to have a child support order fixed for them.
Right.
Support order.
I'm in the process. I go back on the 28th. We go back to court, so...
Fine. Do you have a bill for this equipment, sir?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
I actually have I'll just give this all to you. I have a police report, and I have, I don't have the receipt because it was purchased in about 2001. I do have an ad for the same exact equipment. It's pretty much almost exactly identical.
Let me see it.
You'll be able to see that for yourself. I brought it to get looked at a shop, and they basically rendered it, irreparable because the motherboard, the internal CPU board is cracked due to the fall.
Did you get a protective order, Mr. Torres?
I had one at one time, but it was disengaged.
Was it as a result of this?
No, it was something that happened prior to, before that.
How much did you pay for the equipment, sir?
$2,400.
Well, you can replace it for $1,700, correct?
That's correct. That's not exactly the identical model because
It may not be, but it's also
model.
5 years ago.
I understand.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. That's all. Step out.
What is our excuse? You must step out.
I think she did the best job she could.
I think it was a fair decision.
Well, I think we'll be pretty civil.
I'm going to be able to, purchase my equipment that gets me back on track, so I'm on track, constituents for life.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Young versus Young. Step forward.
Christine Young is suing her son, Shannon Young, for missed payments on a car she helped him buy. Shannon says his mom repossessed the vehicle in question.
Mrs. Young, this is your son. And according to your complaint, he purchased a car. You co-signed for the car for him because he couldn't get the car using his own credit. There came a time he stopped making the car payments. You were forced to assume the car payments. Ultimately, you repossessed the car, took it back from him. Your former husband, his father, took over the car at some point. You want your son to be responsible for the car payments that you made between the time he stopped making the payments and the time your former husband took over making the payments. First, tell me, Miss Young, when the car was purchased.
It was March of 2003.
What kind of car was it?
A 1999 Subaru Forester.
And it was in your name, sir?
Yes.
What's your first name?
My first name is Shannon.
And Shannon, you are married?
Yes.
And you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
I have 2 children.
Your mother co-signed for the car?
Yes.
And you made payments from March of 2003 up until when, sir?
The first payment she made was $116.05.
Why?
I didn't have the money to pay it.
Did you call her and let her know that you weren't making the payments?
She was informed, yes.
No, that's not my question.
I did let her know that if she was able to make the payment, I was sorry that she did have to make the payment, but she would be reimbursed for whatever payments that she would be making.
So did you reimburse her?
No, she took the car before I could do that.
You say in your answer that you and your mother had an argument.
Yes.
During a summer. Was it the summer of 2005 or 2006? It's not so hard, sir. We're in 2006 right now.
Yeah.
Was it last month or the month before?
It's just that we're always arguing about stuff.
No, this was the argument where you and your wife decided, according to you, that she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore.
2005.
So after you had this argument with her and you decided she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore, she still made car payments for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though you weren't letting us see her grandchildren.
She was not coming by to see the grandchildren. She was there for Halloween. Thanksgiving came and went. She didn't call.
Just a second. I don't ask whether she called. I'm reading your answer,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Your answer said, as a result of an argument that took place last summer, it ended with my wife and I deciding that she was not to see our children, her grandchildren.
That is correct.
And all I'm saying to you is after you told her, don't tell me what she didn't do, you told her that she couldn't see her grandchildren, she still made car payments for you.
That is correct.
Why do you think she did that?
She's a co-signer on the car.
She didn't take the car away in January. She could have.
Yeah, she could have.
When did she take the car away?
I want to say April.
She didn't take the car away in February, sir. You didn't make car payment.
No, I did not.
She didn't take the car away in March.
No.
So this lady who co-signed the car because you didn't have reasonable enough credit. You were old enough to make babies, but you weren't old enough to have enough credit to buy a car on your own. So she had to co-sign for you. She had to make payments for you when you couldn't make the payments. Then you had an argument with her. You told her she couldn't see her grandchildren. She continued to make payments on the car for you and didn't take it away. I just want to get the timeline straight. Shannon.
Yes.
Must have been a really important argument that you and your wife decided she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore.
Yes.
You want to tell me about it?
Why we wouldn't let her see the grandchildren anymore?
Yeah.
She's doing her best effort to involve herself with the grandchildren. She doesn't like my wife, and so she loves the grandchildren because they're her grandchildren. Now, for example, when my first son was born, I called her up from the hospital. And
How long ago was this, sir?
this was 5 years ago.
I'm not interested in 5 years ago. Tell me what happened in the summer of 2005.
Well, she called me up asking when I would be able to make a payment for her. She asked me if I would be able to have the payment for her on Friday. I said, no, I will not be able to have it for you on Friday. I said, I'll have it for you on Wednesday. She said, well, can you have it on Tuesday? No, I cannot have it on Tuesday. I can have it for you on Wednesday because that's when I'm getting paid. And then she started asking me if I loved her or not. And I said, yes, I do love her. And then she started crying to me. And I said, you know what? You don't need to start crying. And then she says, I am making your car payments for you because you're my son and my grandkids need something to drive around on. But it's not the car payment that is upsetting me, Shannon. She says, I know I'll get the money back from you. What's really bothering me is that I have been making your brother's payments on his carpet cleaning machine, and I have made a couple payments on your brother's Mustang. And I said, that's great that you did do that, and I'm sorry that you had to make my car payment, and so it's compounding everything for you, as she did have to make the payments for her 3 sons. But I did let her know that I would pay her back for all the payments that she paid me.
So far, I'm not hearing why she can't see her grandchildren.
Because she asked me if she could come pick the grandkids up on Monday. I said, that's fine with me, but it's really not up to me. It's a decision that me and the children's mother need to make, my wife, Elizabeth. Elizabeth didn't think it was such a good idea at that time for her to see the grandchildren.
Why?
It's my wife's decision. She didn't think it was a good idea.
Just a second.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Don't say anything. Why wouldn't you put your wife in her place, sir, is my question to you. How long are you married?
I've been married for about 5 years.
You know what the divorce rate is in this country?
I don't keep track of this.
52%. That means there's a better than 50-50 chance that 5 years from now you'll be married to somebody else. You know how many mothers you have? Oh, one. You know how many mothers you're going to have in 5 years? One. You know how many mothers you're going to have in 20 years? One. Madam, he's very challenged, and there is absolutely nothing that I can say to you. I mean, stupid, he's beyond stupid. Beyond stupid. Because his wife had a problem with picking up the grandchildren. Here from a man who's just told me that his mother loved his children, went out of her way to be supportive of her 3 sons who can't get themselves arrested because they can't pay for their own vehicles, and he decides to say to his wife, you don't want her to see the children? I'm not going to argue with you. She won't see them. Something wrong with you.
There's
Something clearly wrong with you. How many car payments did you... Don't speak to me, idiot. How many car payments did you make for him?
I think there was a total of about 13 payments.
And what was each payment?
They ran anywhere from $250 to $195.
Would you please tell me the total amount of car payments you made?
$1,962.
Mr. Young, that's what you owe your mother. You also owe yourself, sir, a little bit of growing up. One of these days you're going to have heartache. I guarantee you, your heartache will be if something happens to your mother, and because of your lunacy, you cut her out of your children's lives. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused and they step out.
He thinks that I'm trying to disrespect my mother. I love my mother very much.
I love him dearly. It's not about him as a person, but it's about the decisions that he's made.
I'm sure we'll be fine. You know, she's my mom. She'll always be my mom.
Rebecca Henson is suing the father of her Connor Owen, is suing his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Jennifer Hansel, for making unauthorized credit card charges while he was in Iraq.
And subsequently you became engaged. It is your claim that at some point you were foolish enough to give her a credit card that she was supposed to use, according to you, for emergencies. The only problem, Mr. Owen, is her definition of an emergency and yours were different. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're no longer a couple. You want her to pay you back for those credit card charges.
Yes, Your Honor.
And second, you purchased a car. The car was for her. You took back the car, you'll explain why. And at this point, if you went to sell the car, you believed that you would be short $3,000, something like that, in the shortfall of what you could sell it for and what the loan is that you're responsible for.
Yes,
so you wanted to pay for that.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a big problem, sir. I'm going to explain the legalese to you in a moment. By the way, Miss Hansel says the credit card was a gift and the car you took back, and she's counterclaiming for some harassment nonsense. So I'll hear you in due course. When did you start dating the defendant?
The defendant and I started dating about September 11th, Your Honor. About a week and a half before I left to Iraq, Your Honor.
Is that when you met her?
Yes.
2005,
Your Honor.
When did you give her the credit card?
I gave her the credit card in February, Your Honor.
And you were still in Iraq at that time. What did you do, mail it to her?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
So far, is that correct? Why did you mail her a credit card? You knew her for a week and a half.
At this time, Your Honor, Jennifer and I had become very close over the phone when I was in Iraq. We all fallen in love. I trusted her very much. In February, she had got evicted from her house, and she had no place to go.
Do you know why she got evicted from her house?
Because she had thrown a party at her house.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Well, he didn't answer me yet.
Because she had thrown a party at her house. The landlords found out about it, and they didn't like it very much, so...
Is that what she told you?
That's what she told me, Your Honor. So she gave him 2 weeks' notice that she was leaving, and she came home from work one day, and all of her stuff was out in the lawn. She had nowhere to go. At that time, Your Honor, she had no money, so she had asked me to loan her some money so that she could find a place to stay, get food and whatnot. So I told her I would put her on my credit card as a secondary, and she could use it for emergencies purposes only. A couple of weeks later, I got a call from my Discover card statement saying there had been multiple charges to Charlotte Russe, different clothing companies. I asked the defendant about these charges, and she said yes, I had made these charges to these clothing companies.
Well, did she also charge a motel, a place to stay, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. As far as gas, motel, clothes, food. I got paperwork if you would like to see it.
Well, I'd like to see it because you did tell her she could use it for emergencies. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You went to stay at a Best Western hotel?
Yes.
Albertson certainly is food, Exxon is gas, Chevron is gas, and Taylor stores. You went shopping for clothes.
I had a new job, and the clothes that I had did not fit the dress code.
That's too bad. Did you ask him if you could use the credit card for clothes?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said it was fine.
Is that right?
No, it's not, Your Honor. I asked the defendant about it, and she said I needed them for work and that I would pay you back.
Okay. What'd you buy in Abercrombie & Fitch?
Clothes as well.
Also for your dress code?
Partly, yes. Button-down polo shirts.
Where were you working, by the way?
I was working at R.W. Smith in the mailroom.
And you need a new wardrobe for the mailroom? What'd you buy at the Coach store that you needed?
That was a present. I didn't buy that.
Present for?
From him.
He was in Iraq.
You can make online purchases. It was not something that I bought for myself.
Did you buy her a pocketbook at Coach?
No, I did not, Your Honor. There is a receipt there showing that with her signature from the Coach store.
Well?
It was a present from Connor Owen.
You mean he called and ordered it, or you went and picked it out?
What was the date?
What difference does it make? How many Coach bags do you own?
More than one.
How many?
4.
How many did you get in 2006?
3.
From whom?
2 were presents. 1 I bought myself.
When did you buy the one yourself?
January.
This isn't that one. When did you get the presents and from whom?
Both from him.
What month?
1 in March and 1 when he had returned in May.
This wasn't May, so you must have gone in to pick it out yourself, right? This was in April. April 15th. So you went to the store, picked it out yourself, and bought yourself a present from him. She really had a sucker. When in May did you return, sir?
I returned April 12th, Your Honor.
Did you tell her that she could use your credit card for an eye exam?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Yes, you did.
Why didn't you pay for your own eye exam? You're working.
I didn't have insurance, and I didn't have enough money.
This wasn't insurance. You paid for this on a credit card. That's not insurance. His credit card is not your insurance.
That's why I needed the credit card, because I did not have insurance to pay for it, Your Honor.
You had a job. A job pays you money. Why didn't you pay for your own eye exam?
My job was not paying enough money to cover extra expenses.
You mean like Coach pocketbooks?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did she give you any money towards this credit card?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
You know why?
She was using me, Your Honor.
She's a user.
And later today,
You buy a 16-year-old car, you do so at your own peril. Anybody with half a noodle understands that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connor Owen says, while he was on duty in Iraq, ex-girlfriend Jennifer Hansel made unauthorized charges on his credit card. Jennifer is countersuing, claiming Connor is stalking her.
Now, why didn't you take this credit card back from her, sir?
I did not take it back because...
Look at me!
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you got back in April.
Yes.
And you've already gotten some bills. So you know that she's been abusing your credit card.
At that time, I didn't, Your Honor, because my mailing address was being sent to Alaska, my home address.
Listen, you already, according to you, gotten word from the credit card company that they were on alert because there were a lot of clothing purchases.
Yes, Your Honor. This is when I was in Iraq.
But then you came home from Iraq, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you, the first thing you did, as soon as you came home, take the credit card away from her?
Because when she said before that she would use it for emergencies only, I trusted her that she would.
Mr. Owen, I don't believe you, sir. When did you become engaged?
We were never engaged, Your Honor.
Just a second. On April 12th, I returned from Iraq. Jen and I got engaged, and we were very happy. That's what you wrote in your complaint.
My complaint, Your Honor? I never...
That's not true.
We were never engaged, Your Honor.
Would you show this to him, please? That is your signature on that document, is it not, sir? That's the complaint.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And what does that say, where I have made a big star?
It says Jen and I had gotten engaged and we're very happy.
I assume you read that before you signed it?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll take it back now. When did you break up?
We broke up June 5th, Your Honor.
Why?
She didn't want to have a relationship with me anymore, Your Honor.
When did you take your credit card back from her?
The same day, Your Honor.
And between the time you got home in April and June, did she give you any money towards this credit card?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
You know why, Mr. Owen?
She was using me, Your Honor.
That's right. But she could only use you if you allowed yourself to be used. She's not a nice person.
I realize that now, Your Honor.
Well, that doesn't make a lawsuit, Mr. Owen. She's a user. And if you had stayed together with her and she didn't pay you this money, you wouldn't have sued her. You decided to sue her because she broke up with you. Now tell me about the car, and then I'll tell you what your problem is with the car.
When I was in Iraq, Your Honor, she had a very unreliable car that was breaking down. I got back, and we went to South Bay Volkswagen to purchase her new Volkswagen Jetta. They would not approve it because her credit is not sufficient enough to have a vehicle.
She can't pay for an eye exam. She can't pay for a new Jetta.
Yes, Your Honor. I talked to the finance officer. He said, we can't approve it with your name under it. Jennifer and I had talked about it, and we had made a contract stating she was financially responsible for the vehicle. I had nothing to do with all finances.
Did she make the payments?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
So you took the car back?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Where is the car now?
I'm trying to sell it right now, Your Honor.
You can't anticipate, sir, in a lawsuit what you're going to get for your car. That means that I would have to speculate as to what you would get for the car. And we don't do anticipatory lawsuits in this country. Unfortunately, that means that what you have to do is you have to sell the car and then sue her for the difference. Then you have an actual damage. Right now, you only have a speculative damage with regard to the car. Now, who are you?
I'm his mother.
You didn't tell him good enough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Took the car to a dealership yesterday.
I don't care what you took the car to a dealership and what they told you, madam. That's hearsay. He has to sell the car, and then he has to sue her for the difference between what he got for the car and what's owed for the car. And if the court finds at that time that there was a contract that she did not fulfill, the court will enter a judgment against her. I suggest you do that.
Okay.
What?
Your Honor, I'm also suing her for the down payment of the car and the first car payment.
You can't do that, sir. You're in love. And because she disappointed you doesn't mean that you now can come back and sue her for all the things that you really gave her when you were in love. Now, if you were notified in Iraq that she was using this credit card for non-emergencies, somebody that you knew for 1 week before you went there, and you cut off your credit card and sued her for the things she had purchased, I would say, perfect. But what you did was you allowed her to continue to use that credit card even after you came home without taking it back from her, without calling up and canceling it and saying, listen, I love you, honey, and I want to be with you forever. But until we're married, you can't have my credit card. And I'm certainly not going to put down for a down payment on a car, for the first car payment for you, because you haven't paid me back what you owe me on the credit card. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a gift. Or stupidity. I don't know which one. Either one I don't deal with. Put your hand down, sir. Now, you have 30 seconds to tell me about your counterclaim, madam.
My counterclaim is because of 3 instances of breaking and entering. I have 2 police reports to support that and repeated stalking.
Time's running.
Would you like to see the copies of the police reports?
No, what you tell me?
He broke into my house once after we had broken up, begging me to get back together. I said no. He left hastily. Broke in a second time for the same reason. Again, I said no, and he left again. And the 3rd incident was stalking and threats at my workplace.
Well, tell me about the stalking and threats at your workplace.
Stalking, he was seen at my workplace, waiting for me to come.
Did you see
No,
him?
my witness.
This witness?
Yes.
Step up. Your name?
My name is Rachel, and I'm a witness.
Rachel is a first name.
My name is Miss Spence.
Okay, where do you work?
I work in the same mall as she does at Lens Crafters.
Let me hear you.
Well, I've seen him. I caught him stalking Miss Hansel right here during
Stalking
work.
is a judicial determination. You saw him doing what?
I saw him watching her while I was at work.
Watching her from where?
From behind, like, a corner.
And?
And it seemed kind of creepy to me, personally, which I thought was kind of weird, which is why I'm here.
And how many times did you see him watching her?
I've only seen him once.
When was that?
That was about a month ago. I'm not sure the exact date.
In the month of?
The month of May.
Was I looking at you?
No.
The month of May?
Correct.
Well, in the month of May, they were still a couple, madam. They didn't break up until June. So maybe he was just waiting for her. Thank you. Can I have a seat?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Next time, pick more carefully. Not everything that has a pretty face is a nice person.
And later today,
If you wanted that she had full coverage on the car, you put it in the contract.
I'm not a car dealer, Your Honor.
I don't give a rat's two whether you're a car dealer or whether you repair antennas on...
he was on duty in Iraq. Ex-girlfriend Jennifer Hansel made unauthorized charges on his credit card. Jennifer is countersuing, claiming Connor is stalking her.
Okay. Did he ask for any money from you?
Yes.
When?
He asked both times that he had broken into my house.
And what did he say?
He said, give me the money you owe me.
And what did you say?
How much?
Mm-hmm.
And each time it was a different random dollar amount. I asked him to explain to me what it was for, and I would be more than happy to pay him for it.
Oh, well, now he's here to tell you.
I'm waiting for the dollar amount and why.
Well, let's start out by the fact that you acknowledge that he gave you this credit card because you called him and said, I have no place to stay. I'm broke. Can you help me for this emergency? And he gave you the credit card. And I want you to assume for the purpose of your answer, madam, that I don't buy your Ann Taylor or Abercrombie & Fitch purchases as necessaries. Do you understand?
Yes.
So how much do you think you owe him?
I haven't even tried to total it up, so I'd feel uncomfortable giving you an exact dollar amount.
Good. If I told you that the merchandise purchases that you made totaled $1,500, would that sound right to you?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Next time, pick more carefully. Not everything that has a pretty face is a nice person.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
At the time we were dating, I didn't think I was being taken advantage of because we were dating and the feelings we have for each other. But now that I look back on it, I do.
Bail bondsman Aaron McAllister says former client Elena Zadevich owes for unpaid bail money.
What were you arrested for, Miss Zadevich?
I was arrested on false charges of domestic violence that my ex filed against me.
I didn't ask you whether they were true or not true. I asked, what were you arrested for?
I was arrested on allegations of domestic violence.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
Yes.
Look at me. Was
Yes.
it the first time you were arrested? The answer is either yes or no.
No.
Better. When was the first time you were arrested?
Several years ago.
Having nothing to do with domestic violence.
Has something to do with domestic violence.
So you have 2 arrests for domestic violence?
That's correct.
Was it the same complainant in each case?
Different.
Different. Okay. You are a bail bondsman?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your claim that you received a call from the defendant in jail. You responded. You bailed her out of jail. At her request, she promised to pay for the bond. She did not. You want your money.
Yes.
Defendant says you're a sleazy bail bondsman and she's not paying you.
Correct.
When did you receive the call?
Sometime in the middle of the night from the county jail.
What night? I'm not Karnak. What night would
I'm
you
sorry.
like to tell me it is?
July the 15th.
In the middle of the night. You were home?
Correct. In bed.
How did you get his number?
It was posted on the wall in the county jail.
You have your home number posted in the wall in county jail?
No, ma'am. It's an office number that forwards to my cell phone in the evening and weekends.
I see. I wouldn't think that you'd want your house phone
No.
to have a number. Okay. What did the defendant say to you when she called?
That she was in jail and she had to get out. She had to get to work the next morning. If she didn't get out, she would lose her job.
What kind of job do you have?
I'm an executive assistant.
For whom?
For a small media startup.
How long have you had that job?
Close to a year.
10 months?
Something like that.
Where did you work before?
I was managing a medical spa.
Where?
Walnut Creek, California.
Okay. Have any family here?
Just my 2 children.
How old are they?
6 and 2.
They live with you?
Part-time.
Who do they live with the other part of the time?
Well, my son lives with, my daughter part-time lives with her paternal family.
Maternal or paternal?
Paternal.
Paternal. So the father's family, father's parents with her grandparents?
No, his brother and his family, they live very close by, about 10-minute drive from where I live, and she's there a lot because I work full-time.
Okay. So you had to get to work at the media startup company when you called him?
Correct.
Did you tell him that you were going to take care of paying his bail?
What happened was I told him that I didn't have any money.
No. When you called him on the phone from jail, you told him I don't have any money?
Correct.
Is that right?
No.
Of course not.
Right. I wouldn't.
Of course not, because if you tell you, please bail me out of jail, but I don't have any money, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, he's not getting out of his warm bed in the middle of the night. Madam.
Well, he did.
No. He did. The question was, did you tell him that you didn't have any money?
Yes, I did.
He says you didn't, and I'm saying I believe him that at that time you didn't tell him I have no money. Because if he's in business and he gets a call from a stranger, you are a stranger, right?
Correct.
That I want you to get up out of bed, drive over to the jail and bail me out. But by the way, I have no money. He'd say, call somebody else.
That's exactly what I said.
All right. I don't believe you. Go ahead.
We discussed that she had a CD, and the CD was maturing within the next 30 days, and that there would be ample
That she would have money.
Correct. In the CD to pay me out of the proceeds of the CD. And she didn't want to cash it in early because she didn't want to pay the penalty. I agreed to those terms within 30 days that she would use the CD.
Was this on the telephone?
That was on the telephone.
Okay. Because you did ask her the question about money.
Correct.
And when you said, do you have money, what did she say?
I have a CD.
Okay. So, did you tell her how much the bail would be?
Correct. 10%, $5,000.
Because she had $50,000 bail?
Correct.
That's a high bail for domestic violence.
It is.
Do you know why it was so high?
That's per the schedule in that county. That's always $50,000 for a felony charge.
It's a felony.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we get her out. We memorialize our agreement in writing. She
Can I
signs
see it,
a
please?
bail contract and the agreement to pay.
Can I see it, please? Okay. So you signed an agreement to pay him the $5,000.
I had no choice. He made me sign it.
But
Madam,
listen to me very carefully, madam. You have a choice. Your choice is to stay in jail until the matter on which you were arrested for is tried. That's your choice. You chose.
We had a different agreement.
No, no, no. This is your agreement. This in here is your agreement, in the four corners of this agreement. And what I asked you was, did you sign this agreement? And the answer is either yes or no. Not
yes,
I was forced to sign.
Yes, I did sign that agreement, but aside from that, there was an oral agreement that took place between me and Mr. McAllister.
I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Once the agreement's signed, I get her out of jail. She says, now what do? I live 30 minutes from here. I agreed to give her a ride. She's worried about getting to work, so I give her a ride. And it's about 30 minutes away. So during that time, she tells me the entire story about the arrest, and I attempt to be understanding that, you know, she was arrested, and I'm sorry, and that's a bad thing, and you're dealing with a breakup, and, you know, how she caught her boyfriend with his new girlfriend laying on the couch that she paid for or she picked out. And the entire time in the car,
would you look at me when you're telling me this story, Mr. McAllister? Look at me. Don't look down there.
Sorry. The entire time in the car, she says, I'm not a stalker, I'm not a stalker. I go, okay, sorry, you're not a stalker. No problem. Okay, I'll get you to your vehicle. Well, the vehicle's parked 3 blocks away from the house where she was living or where she was arrested. So there's obviously something going on there. Anyway, I get her out, she signs the agreement, and she refuses to pay me.
Just a second. When did she sign the agreement?
Immediately upon release from the county jail.
Okay. And then you drove her to her car.
Correct.
And you dropped her, and she never paid you.
Right. I made
When,
repeated
for the first time, did you contact her with regard to payment?
Well, within 10 days, we sent her an invoice, just a reminder of the payment terms, and sent her 4 or 5 subsequent invoices that went answered with these rambling letters talking about...
Do you have a copy of the letters?
I do.
Can I see them, please?
Those are her letters to me and then my responses.
Based upon our discussion, these are your words, when he initially asked you for your money. Based upon our discussion, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you and your business in lieu of paying you $5,000 for a relatively risk-free, as you put it, bond. I am still awaiting the opportunity to make good on my offer to work for your company. As you were advised at the time the bond was posted, I have not, or do not have now, $5,000 fee that you are demanding. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time of the unsecured bond was posted, I now consider your correspondence demanding $5,000 to be intimidating and threatening. What are you, crazy? Please do not send me any more threatening letters. You knew my financial predicament at the time bail was posted. I still intend to honor my promise to perform professional services for you. You never promised to perform professional services for him. Your own letter says, it was my understanding that we would discuss my opportunity to provide some type of service to you or your business in lieu of paying for the bond. Given the above-mentioned discussions that we had at the time, I now consider your... Discussions aren't a contract, madam.
Let me tell you what happened. Because he's not telling you the whole truth.
What
happened? He bails me out.
Are you just a second? Are you telling me the whole truth? Listen, are you telling me the whole truth?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
About your children's living arrangements? You're telling me the whole truth?
We're not talking about my children right now. I want to tell you.
You mean you're telling the truth?
About what
Listen
happened.
to me. You're telling the truth sometimes, and sometimes you can lie. And when am I supposed to tell the difference? You see, I knew that you were lying to me about your children's living situation. That you're not willing to discuss.
What did I lie about?
Listen to me. My question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're lying, and how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth?
I do tell the truth.
But you just lied to me today.
About what?
You lied about your children's living situation.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
How did I lie?
Oh, yes, you did. And you know you did. You know that they live with me part-time, they live with some part-time, they live here because I work. It's not the story. But that's a story you chose to tell me. Now, you told me that with the same veracity as you told me that you had another contract with him. And my question to you is, how am I supposed to tell when you're telling the truth and when you're lying?
What I'm saying is the truth.
Okay. Now I'm going to hear you, and then I'll tell you what the law is.
Okay. Well, he bails me out. He drives me to my vehicle. On the way to my vehicle, he makes comments about, and he says, well, it would be nice if a pretty woman like you worked for my company, doing some sort of marketing and promoting my company, and maybe we can work something out in terms of paying for the bail bond that he posted on my behalf. So when he dropped me off by my vehicle, and before he left, he made me sign the agreement that you saw after we had the conversation of me potentially working for his company.
Did you get what you said to me, madam? You just said to me, maybe you could work for my company. Maybe you could work for my company.
And
that's not an agreement.
No,
that's not. No. After that, nothing. You took that, and I believe that you said that to her. Well, maybe you could work for my company and do something. Maybe you said it to her. Who cares? It's not relevant. There was no contract.
I said I couldn't work for him full time as he proposed. So he said,
no, madam.
We can work something out, and you can work for me on weekends.
Your Honor.
Oh, listen to me. Listen to me. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
Yes.
No, I have
you are,
a
because
letter.
according to what you said to me, after you had that discussion, after, not before. You see, he said you signed this at the jail.
No.
You say I signed it after I had the discussion with him about working with him part-time, weekends, etc. If that was true, that's not contained in this agreement.
No.
And I believe, madam, that you are one smart cookie. And if he had this conversation with you where you made a contract with him, a contract that's enforceable, to work off the bail bond by working for him part-time, you would have put it in this agreement because you're already out of jail. You see, you're already out. Because you're already bailed out. So then you could either say to him, I'm not signing this. Or you say, it's not the entire agreement that we have. But you didn't. You signed it and said, I promise to pay you $5,000.
Well, he told me right there that if you don't sign it, I'm just going to put you right back to jail. That's what he told me.
I don't believe you. You're making it up as you're going along.
No.
You're making it up as you're going along because if he said to you, you signed this or I'm going to take you back to jail.
That's what he said.
Your response would have been, well, then put in our agreement that I could work it off, right? Right?
I was very stressed.
Oh, listen, it's not the first time you were arrested.
Signing.
That's why I asked you the question before. It's not the first time. It's probably not the second time that you were arrested. So pay him his money. You owe him his money. Don't be a con artist. Judge him for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
20-year-old casino dealer Melissa O'Bannon is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old Josh Carney, for rent and for stealing from her bank account.
Miss O'Bannon, according to what I read in your complaint, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship for about 5 years. Is that right?
Yes.
How old are you?
20.
20. And you?
21.
And how many of those years was spent playing house together in the same apartment?
About 2.5.
And who are these people?
That is the witness and my new girlfriend.
And this person?
That is my mom.
According to your complaint, Ms. O'Bannon, the defendant made some unauthorized withdrawals from your ATM, and he agreed to pay you back. Mr. Carney says that he never made any unauthorized withdrawals from your bank account. You never made any loans to him. You also say he owes you for some rent and for some property.
Yes.
Mr. Carney says he didn't take any property that didn't belong to him, that all he really wanted to do was to separate from you and do so in a clean way, and you should divide the property that you accumulated together amicably, and you refused to do that. Right?
Correct.
For the 2.5 years you were living together, Miss O'Bannon, what kind of work were you doing?
I was working for my mom, cleaning offices.
And how much were you earning?
About $1,500 a month.
And what about you, Mr. Carney?
I did a lot of fast food management.
How much did you earn?
Probably about $13.50 a month.
So you earned pretty much the same amount.
Correct.
How did you handle your finances?
We did them separately. We actually had a joint checking account, what everything was paid out of.
You had a joint account?
All bills were paid out of the same joint checking account.
Is that right?
For the last year, yes. It was last 2, and it was the whole time.
Fine.
The time we moved in.
Why don't you think about the answers to your questions, Miss O'Bannon? What ATM did he make withdrawals from?
It was from my credit card.
Well, in order for somebody to make withdrawals from a credit card, they have to have a PIN number.
He knew the PIN number.
What do you mean he knew it? He got it from you in your sleep?
Well, I used the same PIN number that I used from our checking, and he knew it.
Well, tell me about these unauthorized withdrawals, Miss O'Bannon.
The first time he went down and took $100 to go out drinking.
Did he tell you about it?
No, he took it from my wallet, and when he came home from work, I asked him if he knew where my credit card was, and I couldn't find it. He said he never seen it, And the next day, it appeared in my wallet.
Well, when it appeared in your wallet, did you ask him about it?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
He denied it.
What's next?
A couple weeks later, he had a credit card that was with our previous bank, and he wanted to close that out, and so he took $500 off of it.
Well, did he tell you about that?
We had discussed it, yes, and he said that he was going to pay me back the $500.
Okay, does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, that one does. The authorized one does. And the other one, anytime any money was taken off her credit card was all, she was with me the whole time, and the authorized was with her. I never had her PIN number.
Okay, so $500 was for your own personal use. So now you don't have the debt on your credit card and she has it on hers.
Correct.
Well, you have to give it back to her. Got it? Okay. What else does he owe you for?
He owes me for rent. He had moved out, I believe it was May 13th, and that's when we divided up all of our stuff, and he gave me the key back. And May 20th was when he got paid. He was supposed to give me $312.
For June's rent?
Yes, which is rent.
And did he give you the half?
No.
Well, who was supposed to pay the rent in June?
Person living in the apartment at the time. I was off the lease.
Well, you weren't off the lease.
I was actually, according to the statement I have from the apartments. I was off the lease as of May 27th.
Let me see.
Your Honor, he was taken off the lease after he broke into my apartment. They immediately took him off the lease so he could not go into the apartment again.
Okay. Where did you move in June?
I moved into her apartment.
Step up, please. First time I interviewed a girlfriend that I found them useful. Tell me your name.
Suzanne Olson.
Who do you live with, Miss Olson?
With Josh.
Only?
And his mother. And my 2 kids.
Well, now we're getting there. Josh.
His mom. And
his
my 2
mother.
kids.
And your 2 children.
Correct.
Okay. Whose apartment or house is it?
His mother's.
The original apartment in question.
I'm speaking, Swifty. So you live in his mother's house?
Correct. We just moved there.
When?
When did we move?
That's my question. I need an answer.
In the middle of June.
And where did you live before that?
In an apartment.
With whom?
My 2 kids.
And when did he move into your apartment?
The middle of May.
So he did not pay rent when he moved in with you in the middle of May.
Right.
He did not pay rent. Don't play with me, Miss Olson. I'm 10 times ahead of you. We understand each other?
Okay.
And then when you could no longer live in that apartment, you moved in with his mother?
Correct. We moved to the town where his mother lives to get away from everything that was going on.
To get a fresh start. Is it your intention to get a place of your own?
Correct.
Lovely. Do you personally give his mother any money for rent?
Yes.
How much do you give her?
$300 a month.
And how much do you give your mother?
That's the $150 apiece. That's what we give her.
Well, why do you give her $150 apiece? She's got 2 children.
The 2 children are cared for by their fathers, by child support and also by her.
You're not following me, sir. There were 4 of you living in your mother's home.
Correct.
So you don't split this in half. Very small percentage of that $300 a month is yours. She's 3 people, and according to you, she gets plenty of child support.
Correct.
In addition to her own salary. So you've got to pay the last month's rent in June. You got it?
Got it.
Perfect. How much is his share?
It is $312.50.
All right, 500 and 312.50. 812. What else do you want from him?
The items he stole, after he gave me back his key and had left, he had a copy that I was unaware about and had gone back and took other items after we
Like
split
what?
up things. He took a digital camera, a TV, which we did pay half and half.
I'm not splitting that up. Go ahead.
He took all the DVDs, and he also took a videotape of my son.
That involved a child. You had a miscarriage, is that right?
It was a stillborn.
Or a stillborn? His?
Yes.
It's a sonogram? Is that what it is? You have that?
Yes.
You want it?
I do. That's the only item I was able to obtain. Everything else was hidden, so I do want
Well,
it.
then why don't I suggest you do this, Mr.
I offered
Carney?
I offered to make a copy and give it to her.
Which I have not yet received.
Well, then do it.
We'll do.
Do it 5 days from today. All the rest of those things, you're going to have to get over. You understand? Okay. You owe her $812.50. That's all. Step back.
Natalie Holtz claims ex-fiancé Thomas Parrish owes for breaking their lease and for harassing her over the phone. Thomas claims He moved out because of Natalie's constant nagging.
Miss Holtz, it is your claim that Mr. Parrish, who was a boyfriend of yours for a period of time, owes you some money for rent and also for harassing you. Mr. Parrish says that you're actually the one who's bothering him, that he contributed to the rent while he was living at the apartment with you and your children. But when he moved out of the apartment after a disagreement, he stopped paying rent. He's not on the lease. He feels no obligation to pay rent when he's not living there. Okay. When did you move into the apartment with Mr. Parrish?
After we got engaged. We got engaged December of '05.
Did he give you a ring?
Yes, he did. I have it with me.
Okay.
And I even went with my mom and bought a wedding dress, and I bought my daughter's dresses. We were going to have a ceremony on the beach. And
when
then,
did you move in together?
Mid-February of '06. And he went with me to the leasing office. When we went to fill out the forms for the application fee, which was $150, and to transfer within the same complex to a 2-bedroom, that was $500.
So you had a 1-bedroom apartment with your 2 children?
Correct.
Where were you living, sir?
I was renting a house in Chesapeake.
With his mother.
About 35 minutes from where she was living.
Okay, so you weren't living together in the 1-bedroom apartment?
No.
No.
I'm looking at him.
Sorry.
So you moved into the 2-bedroom apartment in February of 2006, and the lease was in your name only.
Correct, but we had discussed, we had an agreement that we would rent the 2-bedroom together for 1 year to save up money to buy a house for after we got married.
Good.
And he paid half the rent for 10 months.
Right, I got you. While he lived there.
Right, correct.
And he paid the rent faithfully, half of the rent, despite the fact that he's only one person out of 4 living in the apartment, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, but they were minors.
I don't care if they're minors or not. He's one person out of 4.
Correct.
Living in the apartment. You get child support for your 2 children?
I get for 1 child because he has them half of the month and I have them half the month.
So you get child support for 1 child?
Correct.
How much?
$400 a month.
Okay. And he paid half of the other expenses on the apartment for the 10 months that he was living there?
Yes, he did. He paid half the utilities.
Half of everything?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, what happened when he moved out?
He didn't give me any notice. He just...
So you must have had a disagreement.
We got into a fight.
About what?
I had asked him to do the dishes, and he was watching TV.
Just, you've got to get a turn.
And I waited about 2 hours. He still hadn't done it. So I went ahead and did it. And I got upset with him. I said, thanks a lot for helping me out around the house. You know, you eat on the dishes too. And he said, well, I was going to do it. I didn't know there was a time limit. And he started yelling at me. My youngest daughter was home. He was yelling in front of her. So I'm like, well, I don't want you yelling around her. He said, well, then I won't. And he went and, where are you going? He's like, I'm moving out. He gave me no notice. I said, what do you mean? Are you going to a hotel room? And he's like, no, I'm moving out. I'm not coming back.
Ms. Holtz, there must have been some clue to you prior to that things weren't going well.
We had had a few disagreements, yes, about...
So things were not going well?
Correct.
Well, you don't want your children to be involved with that sort of hostile environment, do you?
No, but he had only yelled one other time in a year and a half. And
well,
it wasn't
fine. That's fine.
Day occurrence.
That's fine. You don't want it to get any worse, do you? You don't want your children in an environment that's not healthy.
No, that's why.
So that it would be a so that it would be a good idea that he left.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
But I felt he was obligated for the last 2 months of the rent.
Where are you living now?
I just moved to a smaller apartment that I could afford on my own.
Just a second. How much rent was this apartment that you moved into together?
$1,203 a month.
And how much was the rent in the apartment that you had been living in?
It was $988. The 1-bedroom, and my new rent is $895.
So the difference in rent was $200 a month between the 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom.
Right, but if we wouldn't have gotten engaged, I wouldn't have gotten that apartment. I would have gotten something I could afford on my own.
Listen
Your
to
Honor.
Me. I look at objective things. Objectively, you were paying $1,000 on one, and this is $1,200.
And I knew I couldn't afford it if I didn't have a roommate, or if we hadn't gotten engaged. I would have gotten a smaller apartment on my own.
Good.
And I also have bank checks for the transfer fee and the application fee, which he agreed to pay half of. And I also have harassment. I want like $1,000 for phone harassment. I have phone records of him calling.
You mean after, just a second, Ms. Holtz, do you mean to tell me after he moved out, because he said he wanted it over?
Correct.
He started calling you? You didn't call him?
No.
Just a second. Just listen to me. You just listen to me. You didn't call him?
No, Your Honor.
He called you?
Yes, and I have tape recording of it, calling me terrible names.
You never called me.
Just a second. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, ma'am.
When you left, sir, it is your claim that Miss Holtz called you.
Yes, ma'am.
What did she say when she called you?
She called me a lot of adjectives that I won't use here, and I left. The reason I left was more than just the dishes.
Go ahead, sir.
To back up and give you some background of just that day, I won't be long-winded. It was a Sunday morning. I had some work to do. I was going to do it early in the morning. Instead, I put that work off until the afternoon. While she laid in bed, I did the dishes, fed the kids, cleaned the kitchen, did 2 loads of laundry, put all that away, spruced the house up while she's still in bed, asked her if there's anything else I can do before I went and did my work. No, everything's fine. I went away and worked it took me about 3.5, 4 hours. I came back.
What kind of work did you do?
I'm a small contractor.
Go ahead.
It took about 3.5, 4 hours. I came back. The NFL football playoffs were on. I watched the second half of the first game. The next game was the Dallas game, which I'm a huge fan. She knows that. I sat down to watch that. In the meantime, she had gone in the kitchen and started going off about everything. I had left a Walmart receipt on the counter from where I bought some groceries the day before, which I bought my share and then some of the groceries for all 4 of us. She started griping about the receipt on the table. You know, why'd you leave this receipt here? You want money from me? I said, did I ever ask you for money? Is this why you left the receipt? She on and on and on. This goes on for over an hour.
It's not true, Your Honor.
Shh, don't interrupt him.
After the conclusion of that, she goes and stands in front of the television, or not directly in front of it, but right beside it, hand on her hip, and says, you've watched one football game, now I expect you're going to sit here and watch another one? And I looked at her and I said, yeah, I'm going to watch another one. You know, I'm a Dallas fan. I'm going to watch the game. And she said something, and that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I got up. I had some shirts and some clothes in the apartment. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm leaving. I've had enough.
Your Honor, he never works on Sundays. He hates working on Sundays. He did not go to work
Your
that
Honor,
day.
What difference does it make whether he
Because
went to
he's
work or
lying.
not?
It's showing that he lies. He's
I did
lying.
go to work.
Ms. Holtz, if something doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. And what doesn't make sense to me is I listened to him only for a couple of minutes, and I've made a judgment, because I'm usually good at making judgments, that he's not a nut.
Thank you.
I don't.
You haven't heard this.
Oh, I don't think he's a nut. I think maybe he was stretched to the limit, but I don't think he's a nut. And I think when he left, he probably would have left you alone. But you started bugging him because you were angry, just as you are angry right now. You are so angry right now, you can't even contain yourself.
I'm just nervous, Your Honor.
You're angry. You're still angry.
I'm angry at what he called me, yes. He called me very vulgar and obscene things, and I don't deserve that.
I'm going to ask you again to answer my question and answer it honestly. After he left that day, who called who first?
He called me.
First?
Yes, he called me 27 times.
Just a second. So what did he say, Miss Holtz, when he called you after he left?
He said that I only think about myself, that I'm a self-centered, and I can't repeat what he called me. And yes, I did call him once. I asked him for my key back.
Just a second. My question was, who called who first?
He called me first. I have the phone records.
You have a phone record that shows all your outgoing calls?
Yes, I do, but his is first.
Great. Let me take a look at what you have. Put a mark next to where you called him.
I'll put a star where I called him. All the other check marks are him calling me.
Just go back to the beginning.
The beginning is where he left on the 6th.
What's your phone number, sir?
286.
At your mother's house?
That's my cell phone. That's the only.
At your cell phone?
That's the only phone I use, yes, ma'am.
Well, on the 6th, madam, 286 is outgoing.
It says incoming.
Outgoing, outgoing, outgoing. Then you have a couple of incoming. But on the 6th, I want you to point to where I've checked this off, please, and let her look at it.
All the highlighted ones. Okay.
I'm not talking highlighted. Look at where I made the check marks.
That was in the afternoon. He was still home, or he was still. He hadn't moved out yet. That was in the afternoon.
Why would she call me?
The next day. It's the next day when he started harassing me.
Listen to me. What? Okay, give it back to me.
Incoming, incoming, incoming. These are all incoming.
Miss Holtz, you don't want me to think you're a nut, do you?
No, ma'am.
On the 6th, according to you.
That night.
I'm speaking. You called him at a time when you said he wasn't out working, because you said he doesn't work on Sundays. So clearly, you called him at that cell phone number, 216, 252, and 252.
Yes, he went to the grocery store.
So what'd you call him 3 times for?
He called me, and I called him back on several occasions.
So he went to the grocery store for whom?
For all of us. We all had to eat.
So he was out on family business?
Yes, before we got in a fight. Yes, ma'am, he was.
After I finished working.
Just a second. Okay. Then the next phone call on the 7th, of January was a phone call from you to him at 8:09 p.m., and he called you back at 8:29. You called him first. Then you called him at 9:10 p.m., 6:59 a.m., 7:30 a.m.
He wouldn't return my call to get my key back, Your Honor.
Please.
And I have the text messages right here of all the incoming text messages.
Okay, Ms. Holtz, I'm
day.
listen to me, madam. You got to get over it. Get over it.
It's okay to call somebody the B word and the C word?
Get over it. Sticks and stones break your bones. Names will never hurt you. Did your mother ever teach you that? You have to get over it. It's finished. You may be angry. You may be angry that you devoted 10 months of your time to him. He may not have said nice things to you. I mean, you can tell.
I've had 24 calls since the 9th on here.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm looking at your phone records.
I don't have them.
You called him first.
To get my key back and my mailbox key back.
Change the lock. What? Go ahead.
I just want to clear up a couple of things. You've done a nice job of clearing up the harassment. First of all, I don't understand her suing me for ever how much she sued me for, $1,200, $1,300, whatever it is. I could understand if she was going to sue me for bigamy. I could understand that, because in that pretty little head there's about 12 personalities.
Mr. Parrish.
This is what I get on messages.
Mr. Parrish, listen to me. Not necessary, sir.
Okay, I just letting you know.
Let him show his true colors.
Not necessary.
Okay.
She may be stressed. She's a single mother.
She's a good mother.
She's a single mother. Takes care of the kids. Money, I'm sure, is tight. I'm sure it was much more comfortable when you were there.
I understand.
Much less stressful financially when you were there. You're not there anymore. A life she anticipated is over. But I don't think that you're responsible for any rent when you weren't living there. I think that you took care of more than your fair share of the bills when you lived there in a family that was really not yours. You left. The responsibility is hers. She was angry. And these phone records do not support harassment on your part, sir. I mean, common sense dictates that if you left, you would have been just as happy to be left alone. Period. But very hard when you are stressed to deal with that kind of change. I get it. But you're not entitled to any money, madam. The case is dismissed. That's
Your
all.
Honor.
That's all.
Diane Dennis is suing her daughter, Christy Dennis, for fraudulently using her home as collateral on a bail bond. Christy claims she paid her back.
Mr. Dennis, this is your daughter.
Yes.
According to your complaint, your daughter has had a difficult adulthood. She has some children that you are caring for because she had a drug problem for a while and was unable to care for the children. And I assume that you're doing okay now.
Yes.
You look fine.
Thank you.
Sometime during that period of time, she gave you the home that she had, and you and the children live in that home.
Yes.
You subsequently found out that she had used that home while it was still in her name as collateral for bail for her boyfriend.
Right.
The boyfriend skipped out. The bail was up to several $1,000s. There was a lien on the house for that amount of money, and you want her to pay you back for that.
That's correct.
Is there a mortgage on the house?
Yeah.
How much did you pay for it?
$115,000.
When did you buy it?
It would be like 96 or 97?
99.
Oh, 99.
What's the house now worth?
$150,000.
So it is appreciated in value.
Yes.
And when did she give it to you?
In September of '03.
And are you paying the mortgage on the house now?
Yes, I am.
Did you put any money down on the house?
No, I didn't.
So the house is now worth approximately $35,000 more than when you purchased it. And you put in zero money.
Well, I put some upgrades in the home, but I didn't.
That has nothing to do with, you put in zero money.
That's right.
To purchase it.
Right.
And between 1999 and 2003, you paid the mortgage?
Yeah.
You did not pay the mortgage.
Well, I did. It went into foreclosure 3 times during that time. It was because of non-payment. So the first time it was $1,800. That was in '01. She came to me and said, I'm in big trouble.
Okay, that was $1,800. And
okay,
then?
a year later in $1,200, and I paid that. And then I moved in with her. She was having trouble paying her bills and everything. And in 2003, it went into foreclosure for the 3rd time for non-payment.
But you were living with her at the time?
Yes, and I was giving her my half of the house payment to pay, but she was not paying the house payment. So then we owed $2,425. And I said, well, if you want me to pay it this time, it's no longer your house.
And that was in September of 2003?
Yes.
And when did you actually turn the house over to your mother?
September of 2003.
And when did you use the house as collateral for bail for your boyfriend?
In June of 2004.
Well, how could you use the house as collateral?
Well, it was still in my name.
Well, how could it be in your name if you turned it over to your mother? When did
she
you
kept
actually...
it in my name.
Oh, she can't do that.
No,
Why did
what
you
we
keep it in
did
your
is
name?
that we did a quit claim deed and we notarized it and everything, but I did not record it at the county recorder's office.
Why not?
Because I was not anxious to take her house, and she said that she was going to pay me back. And so I put on the letter of explanation on the quit claim deed, I gave her a little bit of time to do that and said if she did it by a certain date.
Miss Dennis.
She never did it.
Diane Dennis says her daughter, Christy Dennis, owes for a bail lien on her home.
Ms. Dennis, if you had recorded the deed, which you, I assume, ultimately did.
Yes, I did.
Then she couldn't have used the house as collateral.
That's right. That was my mistake, definitely.
It was your mistake. Right. But you're really not out any money because you have a home in which you put in no money and you have equity in the house of over $35,000.
Yes, and I've helped her a lot. The only thing
we're not talking about you helping her. And I assume that when she gave you this house, and if there was an increased equity of $35,000, nobody paid any federal gift tax on the house.
Well, it hasn't been sold.
It doesn't have to be sold. She gave you a gift. And if the gift is in excess of $10,000, you have to pay a gift tax on that, Ms. Dennis.
She was going into foreclosure. It was either going to go to the bank or to me.
You're making excuses. You know exactly what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is you now have a home in which at most you put in $4,000 if you paid the back mortgage payment.
No, that was over $6,000, three times.
I have 18 and 22.
And then 24, 25 the last time. That was the foreclosure.
You were living, just a second, you were living there.
And giving her the payment.
You were living there. I don't believe that you were giving her the payment, Miss Dennis.
Was I giving, okay.
Miss Dennis, I don't believe you were giving her the payment. With her history of not paying the mortgage, it doesn't sound right to me that if you're living there because your daughter's on drugs, that you would turn over your half of the mortgage payment to her so that she would pay the mortgage. Ms. Dennis, it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not true.
Okay.
So,
well, I thought she wasn't paying the payment because she didn't have the money. She went through a hard time. She lost her partner.
Ms. Dennis, I don't
working.
believe you that you were giving her the money. I don't believe that you were living in the house with her to take care of your grandchildren because she was going through a difficult time, according to you, on drugs, and you were handing her over money. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
well, I don't believe it.
I
don't believe it.
Okay, after she signed the quitclaim deed, the only thing that changed is that I was now making the payment.
Miss Dennis, you have a house in which you have now $35,000 in equity for which you paid nothing.
Your Honor, I upgraded the downstairs.
Good for you. Now you own the house.
At the time I took the quitclaim deed, she had about $10,000 worth of equity. This has been since 2003 that she signed it over to me. In 2004, she used it as collateral to get her boyfriend out of jail.
Couldn't
now
have
that's
done
the
that.
Only.
Couldn't have done that, my dear, if you had taken the deed.
But it still changes hands. The only thing is, it doesn't give notice. As far as I gave constructive notice because I'm living in the house.
Don't tell me about constructive notice. You did not give constructive notice to the bail bondsman. Because if you did, then the bail bondsman would not have been.
Yeah, I found out that about.
You think if you talk more than me,
no,
you're wrong on the law, Miss Dennis.
Of course, but
of course.
A year
so
later,
if you're wrong on the law, and if you come to a court, somebody's going to say to you, you're wrong on the law. A certain amount of sympathy, because if you were out money, I would say,
I
have sympathy. Well, that's not what this is about. We're here on one particular issue. And the one issue that we're here to address is whether or not you are entitled to the money that you had to repay to take a lien off your house.
Right.
And I'm saying to you that it wasn't your house.
Okay.
Unless you record it, because that's what the law requires. That you record a deed so that the rest of the world knows that this is your property. The law does not require that with regard to personal property, the locket around your neck, the shirt that you're wearing, but the law requires that with regard to land.
Right.
You chose, for whatever reason, not to do that. She was absolutely entitled, therefore, during that period of time to use her house as collateral. Now, if you're looking for a sympathy factor, there is none, because according to you, the equity that she had built up until 2003 was $10,000. Now the equity is $35,000. So sympathetically, it's here. Morally, it's here.
Okay, I paid over $6,000 just to get it out of foreclosure when she was non-paying. Okay, I put in improvements that was way over the
Goodbye, Miss Dennis. You're not getting anywhere. The case is dismissed.
Okay.
Cindy Miller is suing her former landlord, Grover Smith III, for the return of rent. Cindy says on the day she moved into Grover's home, it was raided by police.
Miss Miller, you rented a room from Mr. Smith in his house. According to your complaints, shortly after you moved in, there was a police siege in his house, and Mr. Smith was arrested.
Correct.
You moved out? Wise. Very wise. You want your $500 back.
Correct.
Okay. When did you move in?
I moved in the 10th of December.
Okay. Where had you been living?
In Granada Hills at a different house.
Why did you move out of your last house?
I needed to get another place to live because I was assaulted on Thanksgiving, and that's another case pending, and I was afraid that the assailants would find me where I was. So I needed to find someplace else to go very quickly. So I looked in the penny saver and I found Mr. Grover's house. And it
Were you assaulted during a robbery attempt, or?
No, it was during Thanksgiving at one of my friend's houses, and
okay,
it's a story. It's another case.
Okay. So you found the room through the penny saver,
right?
And
then I moved in on the 10th of December. And
gave him $500.
I gave him
so
$500.
So far correct, Mr. Smith?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, keep going.
And then I moved in about 4:30 on that afternoon on Sunday, and at 8 p.m., 8:30 that night, there was police outside, and they came on the loudspeaker, and they said, "Everybody out of the house, come out with your hands up."
That was the day you moved in?
The day I moved in, like 4 hours later. And Grover comes and knocks on my door and says, "Cindy, we have to go outside because the police want us to go outside." And I said, "Oh my gosh." So I had no shoes on, no coat, but we went to the front door, and Grover looks at me and he says, "Now if they ask you, tell them I didn't change my clothes and I never left the house."
He said that to you?
He said that to me.
Why would you ask her to say that, sir?
I don't recall saying that to her.
That would be an odd thing for her to make up.
Yeah.
What were they looking for you for, Mr. Smith?
I was accused of robbing my ex-girlfriend.
On that day?
On the same day that she moved in, yeah.
Were you home that day?
Yes, I was home.
Did you ever go out that day?
Just one time to the backyard. That's about it for a little while.
How
Do
long?
some yard work.
How long?
Maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Other than that, you were home all day?
Yes.
Was he home all day?
No.
So, you were all made to come out of the house. You weren't totally dressed when you came out of the house. When did you move out?
I didn't move out for a week because I didn't have a place to go just yet. I called my brother that night after the police let us back in the house, after a big ordeal with the police handcuffed me. I had to raise my...
Handcuffed you?
Yes, I had to go out. I had to go out of the house with my hands raised, with the guns pointed at me. And he was yelling at the police saying, you know, "Sir, don't make me come out of the house because I've been shot before by the police." And I was like, oh my gosh. So then they handcuffed me and they patted me down and made sure I didn't have any weapons, and they made us stay outside for like an hour.
When did you ask him for the $500 back?
A few days later.
And what did he say?
No.
I don't recall ever hearing from this woman that, you know, that I owed her any money at all.
Well, what did you think she sent you a summons for, sir? She was inviting you to take line dance lessons?
Not today is the first time that I've heard from this woman.
But you got a summons from her? You came to court? You must have known that she wanted her money back. Why didn't you just give her the $500 back?
I didn't know she wanted any money back until today.
Until today? What did you think she wanted? She wanted to date you?
I thought she was still living in my house. She still lives with me. To my knowledge, she still lives there.
What do you mean?
You could have fooled me. I've been gone an awful long time.
She's lucky that I'm not countersuing her.
Just a minute. Are you telling me she still lives in your house?
Yes. I've gotten no 30-day notice, let alone no 3-day notice.
I don't care whether you got a 30-day notice, a 3-day notice, or a partridge in a pear tree, sir. Did she live in your house?
Yeah, she lived in my house.
And was she sleeping in your house?
As of December 10th.
Oh, get out of here, idiot. Oh, listen, if I could fine you for stupid, I would fine you for stupid. Right now, all you owe is $500. Judgment for the plaintiff.
It was
the amount of
false
$500. That's all. Step out.
Dewanique Key says her cousin, Datiana Johnson, used her identity during 2 traffic stops. Datiana claims on the first occasion, she was drunk.
You're going to find this really interesting, Bird. Guaranteed. You see, Miss Johnson over here got stopped by the police for a traffic infraction. The first time you were stopped, what kind of violation was it, Miss Johnson?
Speeding.
Speeding? Mm-hmm. And how fast were you going?
I think I was going like 60, I think.
50.
Could you keep your voice up, please?
Like 60 or about 55.
And when she got stopped for speeding, according to the complaint, which is, you know, not disputed by the defendant, she gave her cousin's name. Your cousin?
Yeah. Yes,
she gave her cousin's name because she didn't want to get in trouble. And that worked out just fine, except she never showed up to pay the ticket or anything else. She just let it go. Right?
Yes.
Then she got stopped again. And she figured it worked so well the first time, according to her.
Why not?
She gave her cousin's name again.
This must be her favorite cousin.
And what did you get stopped for the second time, Miss Johnson?
Running a stoplight.
In what jurisdiction do you live?
Los Angeles.
She again gave her cousin's name.
Well, can I explain the first time, you know?
It's not funny. I don't think you're funny. I don't think you're funny at all. So let me go further, and then we're going to get the details of this fiasco because, you know, I like to sort of lay out the situation. So she gives her cousin's name twice. Her cousin finds out about it. How?
I was getting insurance on my car, and the lady notified me that my license was suspended, and I had 2 tickets on my record. And I could not get insurance until the license was cleared up.
So your license, they suspended your license?
Yes, ma'am.
You're lucky they didn't issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes. And this was, I was driving around. I didn't find out till like 10 months later that my license, it has been suspended 5 months before I even knew about it.
So she and her cousin discuss it, and she decides to do the responsible civic thing and goes to court and pleads guilty.
I plead guilty.
Yeah, she pleads guilty.
Okay.
And and they assess her fines. And this is what the case is about. She wants her cousin to pay the fines, all the fines, for the 2 tickets she got.
Your Honor.
And the cousin says, I don't know. We're family. Because I was trying to understand what your defense is. So before I go on, I want to tell you both the following. What you did was a crime, Miss Key. Do you know that?
No.
Well, I'm going to explain that to you. When you go into court and you pled guilty, someone said to you, raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
And then they said to you, what is your name?
Dewani Key.
And you told them your name. And then they said, how are you pleading?
Guilty.
You said, I'm pleading guilty. And you're pleading guilty because you were guilty.
No, ma'am.
Well, that's what you were doing. When you enter a plea of guilty, what you're doing is you are perpetrating a fraud on the court. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a crime. You can't do that. You can't do that. And when you gave her name, that is a crime. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Is this the first time somebody told you it was a crime?
No, it's not.
When for the first time did somebody tell you it was a crime, Miss Johnson?
The second time after I did it.
You mean you didn't know the first time?
Well, the first time I was intoxicated, and I just said the first thing came to my mind.
So not only were you speeding, you were drunk and speeding.
It was my birthday. Well, I mean, I was turning 21. So I was intoxicated that day.
Judge, the only reason why I pled guilty, she agreed to pay me. So we didn't have to go through all these court processes. She said, I'll pay you for it, don't worry about it. Under that, I said, okay. Once I got that money, I told her, this is how much it costs, you owe me this, and it has to be done by August 8th. That was our court date. I didn't get any money but $50 from her.
Just a second. You have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Go get it.
Your Honor,
Go
at the time she did.
Get your driver's license.
I didn't bring it with me today.
Go get your pocketbook. Get it and bring it in. Fast. Empty your pocketbook. Is that your driver's license?
My California ID.
I'll take it. Now empty your pocketbook.
I don't have the driver's license here.
Then empty your pocketbook.
You want me to take everything out of my purse?
I want you to give me your driver's license.
I didn't bring it. I didn't drive today.
Unless this court receives your driver's license, madam, within 3 days, it is my intention to inform the police department in Los Angeles to confiscate your driver's license. Do we understand each other? Do we understand each other?
Yes. Can I ask why, though? I mean, this is
because you perpetrated a fraud on the court. Her driver's license was suspended when yours should have been suspended. Don't you get that?
And I had a fake to appear.
Don't you get that? Your driver's license should have been suspended. You were driving, according to you, drunk. You got a speeding ticket. You gave somebody else's name. The second time, you did the same thing. You ran a red light and gave somebody else's name. And you still have a driver's license. Your driver's license should have been suspended. And if I don't get your driver's license so that you don't have it, it is my intention to inform the police department in Los Angeles, which I may do anyway. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
This belongs to me. Now, you have 30 seconds to tell me why you don't owe those fines.
Because I was under the impression that she did community service.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
Well, she told me she was going to do community service.
She's not doing community service for you. Why should she do community service for you? What are you doing?
She was doing it for herself.
I don't understand what you mean she was doing it for herself.
Meaning because that's my name.
I don't understand what you mean she was doing it for herself.
Because she called me and told me that the judge ordered her to do community service. So when she told me that, I thought it was taken care of.
What do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm not employed.
How do you support yourself?
I have ways.
How do you support yourself?
My daughter's father.
Supports you?
Child support, basically.
Who do you live with?
My mother.
Why don't you work?
I was employed. I just recently stopped.
Why?
I was working through an agency, and they're looking for another job for me.
What kind of car do you drive?
A Cadillac.
I asked you a question. An answer I want.
A Cadillac.
What year?
98.
In whose name is the car?
It's in my name.
Where is it registered?
In Los Angeles.
Yes.
She just got that car, so she had plenty of time to pay me back. This car is brand new. Paid cash.
You must get a lot of child support. In any event, Ms. Key, to whom do you owe the fines?
The Los Angeles District Court from Traffic Division, I believe.
And how much is owed to them?
Roughly $1,700. One ticket was $1,189, and the second ticket was $565.
Now, Ms. Key.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't get any award for brains, because what you did was so wrong. And I understand that you may feel as if, well, it's family and you didn't want her to get into trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
But what you did was against the law. You do understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you deserve to have a consequence. I assume that you did already have a consequence.
I had enough.
You had enough?
Yes.
I believe that that's probably true. She hasn't had any yet. But believe me, she's going to have plenty, because she's not going to have a license to drive around in this new Cadillac that's in her name. Because I had this. And the police department is going to be no. You get it? Perfect. $1,754, judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Basil Aziz is suing comedy club owner Jay Robertson for the cash prize from a Player of the Year contest. Jay says Basil was the only contestant to show up.
Mr. Aziz, according to your complaint, Mr. Robertson is the owner of a club that you have been to in the past, and you saw some sort of an advertisement that indicated that on a particular day he was going to have a contest. You claimed that you went to the contest, that you won the contest, and that Mr. Robertson didn't pay I think it was $1,000, is that right? That he indicated in the flyer was going to be the prize. Mr. Robertson's defense is that not enough people showed up, so that the contest never took place.
Correct.
Okay. Can I see the flyer that notified the public about this contest? Your club is in Virginia, sir?
Yes.
What kind of club is it?
It's a comedy club.
And you had these prepared?
Yes, I did.
Where did you send them?
They was on all sides of town. all over.
Okay. It says $1,000 to be awarded to the Player of the Year. Now, according to your complaint, Mr. Aziz, there was an entrance fee.
I paid that.
I don't see it where it said there was an entrance fee here. What was the entrance fee?
$50 or $100.
Well, who made the decision whether it was 50 or 100?
I did. Originally, how it was all going to be set up, it's going to be $150.
How come you didn't put that down here, sir?
Because I put on, the reason why I put it on there so more people can call. That's why I put on there for more info, call.
Okay. And when people called, what did you tell them?
That's when I was telling them that it was $150. With the $150, that would take care of you, you know, far as food, drinks, everything, plus entering into the contest.
Okay. All right, Mr. Aziz, you got to the club on June 4th?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you pay when you got there?
$50.
Who did you give the money to?
The lady at the door.
What was the name of that lady?
That was the ticket lady. Her name was Lisa. And how it was set up, Lisa was to inform anyone who wanted to do the contest. That particular time, we has changed everything from the $150 to whereas that if you want to do the whole contest, it would be $100.
You can't do, Mr. Robertson.
He changed it too much.
Let me explain something to you. You can't do that, sir. What you're telling me is depending upon your mood, how you felt, or whatever. Sometimes you told people that it was $150. Then it was something else because you changed all the rules.
Well, all the rules...
Mr. Robertson, you can't do that, sir.
All the rules stayed the same. And how the whole contest was supposed to be set up was, I had 5 women. That was going to be a panel. You had to go up on the stage. You had to explain to them why you should be the Player of the Year. They was going to tally up their votes. That never happened.
Well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Robertson. How come it never happened?
Because the only person that really came, because after, when I got back to the club...
The only person that came was?
Right here.
Do you know what that makes him? You know what that makes him? Player of the Year.
Thank you. Go ahead, tell me. You want to tell me? He never told me.
Mr. Robertson, when you run a contest and you have somebody that enters, like he did, and paid his money, and you didn't get enough people so that it could be the kind of event you wanted, but there were a lot of people in your club that night, right? How many people were in the club?
I had...
How many people were in the club?
I had a lot of ladies at that particular time.
Right.
And then later on, that's when...
You had a lot of ladies. Would you say you had 200 people?
Something like that.
Line was around the corner,
Hey. You had 200 people, and was that a usual Saturday night, sir?
Something like that.
Did you have more ladies that Saturday night than you usually have?
Yeah, at that particular time.
You think that's because you advertised the Players' Ball?
Well, that was the catch, to get the ladies to
Right. Come. So you got what your advertising paid for, Mr. Robertson. Now you have to pay up. The winner, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all. Thank
Parties are excused when they step out.
Brandon Book says his mother, Mary Nixon, owes for a title loan on a car and for a loan to pay court fines.
Please.
Mr. Book, the defendant is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint alleges that she owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
One from a loan, the other from another loan that you took out against your car in order to buy your mother a car.
Yes, ma'am.
Car that she ultimately surrendered, owing money on it, and you're paying substantial amounts of money for the time that she, in fact, had the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother says that while she acknowledges that you did some nice things for her, she said that all of that were gifts that you made to her, and she is counterclaiming. She alleges that you gave away some property that belonged to her deceased husband, who was not your father. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And also a wedding ring that she wants back. Okay, so tell me about the first loan, sir.
The first loan was for down payment for her car. She came to me on April 27th of '07, and she asked me if she could go get a car. I took her to a local dealership where her credit qualified her for a car. However, she didn't make enough money to support a car. So they asked me if I would sign for it. The agreement was that she made the payments, and I agreed to it, and so I co-signed for her. However, they needed a down payment. So they asked me if my truck was paid for, and I said yes, it was. So we went to a local financial institution, and they took out the title loan for $2,500. Plus
a title loan?
Yes, ma'am.
Which means that your truck was now encumbered?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they asked for an additional $200 deposit for the insurance. So while we were doing the agreement, we were signing all the paperwork. My mother looked at me and she asked me if this was okay. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I will pay you back as soon as I get my VA benefits. I said, yes, ma'am, that's not a problem.
What VA benefits?
When her husband passed away, we went to the local Veterans Affairs office in Lake Charles, and they said that she qualified for some death benefits. So they put all the paperwork in, and they said that she was going to be awarded it.
Did they say how much she would be
No,
getting?
ma'am, they didn't say how much. They gave us like a monthly statement of what she would get. If she got the full amount, $7 a month. If she got the other one, it was like $6.11 a month.
And how much were the car payments a month?
The car payments were $371.
Okay. So you took out this title insurance, and what happened?
What happened is 2 weeks after she got the car, she lost her job. So I had to figure out some way of having to pay it, both my loan, her loan, and supporting everybody, because her and my sister were living in the house along with my wife and my child.
So you have a wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Child, your mother, and sister were living with you.
And at one time we had my other sister and her 2 kids living with us as well.
And who was supporting them?
I was.
It's outrageous.
It's family.
Good boy. What are you saying no for?
Because it's lies.
Well, come up here and tell me what's the lie about it. First, tell me your first name.
My first name is Mary. My last name is Book.
Very good. Uncross your arms. Is it a lie that you lived with your brother?
No, that's not a lie.
Is it a lie that he helped support you?
No, that's not a lie either.
Well, that's what he said.
No, he said that he co-signed for the car, which is a lie.
Listen to me. I'm not talking about the car. You said that's a lie. She lived with him. You lived with him. Your other sister, for a period of time, lived with him, and her 2 children. And he was supporting you, because I assume you weren't working. Is that right?
That's right.
Why weren't you working?
Because I had no way to work. Because he got my car, and so my mom took sell my car to buy him the
That's
house.
not true, Your Honor.
I have the check.
Just a second.
They sold my car for $6,000, and that got the down payment to the trailer that he now lives in.
Okay, and when was that?
October of last year.
How long did you live in the trailer where he and his wife and child are living?
They got the trailer in October.
Right.
I moved out in December with my sister.
So you lived there 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Then she came back.
Did you come back?
I moved in to an apartment.
Did you come back?
Later.
When?
March or June.
Was it March or June? Those are very different months.
April, March, somewhere in between there.
And how long did you stay? Until when?
I moved out in March again, and I didn't come back until May. And then I moved in back in May, and then we moved out for good in June.
So you lived there about 6 months altogether. And how long did your mother live there?
The whole time. From
Well, no.
October to June.
Oh, then of course you gave him money for the trailer. Did you give him any other money when you lived there?
I gave him some money after the check came in. I paid 2 house notes. I paid a light bill.
So you had a house note?
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to the deposit on the trailer?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. So, other than that, she gave him money because she had you, she had your other sister, she had herself, her sister's 2 children. They lived with him. He's paying a house note, and she gave him a $6,000 deposit on the trailer. Now you can sit down. That's what you're supposed to do. If you and your whole family want to move in with your son and you gave him a $6,000 deposit on a trailer and he's making the house payments on it for you and your family to live in, that's what you're supposed to do.
But, Your Honor, I moved my mobile home I was living in for 14 years off of my property for him to put his mobile home there.
So what?
He told me he will never, ever say anything about me not working. He did not mind me living there because I did this for him.
And I'm telling you, he's not supposed to say that to you. You moved your whole family into the trailer that he was making the payments on. You lived there from October until June. She lived there for 6 months. Your other daughter and her 2 children lived there for 6 months. Who do you expect to pay for that? Every adult pays rent. You're a grown-up. So if you gave him $6,000 at the beginning of your stay, instead of making periodic payments, then what difference does it make? Look at it that way. But don't make yourself a victim. You're not a victim. Children don't support their 46-year-old parents. Parents support their children. How much money did it cost you when your mother surrendered this truck?
It was the car that she had to surrender, Your Honor. It didn't cost me anything. I tried to tell her about it. I went to her work with this document right here showing that if she surrenders the car, that they would give us a 0 deficiency on the auto loan. So I approached her at work with this, And when I approached her at work, she got really defensive about it. And when I told her, I said, look, all you got to do is just surrender the car. They'll give you a zero deficiency. We don't owe anything, but they don't owe us. We don't owe them. It's like it never happened. She refused. She immediately responded back saying that that's it. You have 10 days to get that trailer off my land, and I'm cutting your lights off.
So tell me what happened with the car. Did you surrender
Yes,
the car?
I did.
When?
The next Wednesday.
So what money are you out, Mr. Book?
The title loan on my vehicle. Well, in order to get her car, we had to put a down payment. That's where the title loan on my vehicle came on for her car.
I see. And the title loan was for how much?
$2,500.
So that you're not out any money for the loan, but you are out money for the title loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you actually took that money and put it down as a down payment. That's why you had no money that was owing if she turned the car in.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand. All right, now I'm ready to hear you, Miss Nixon. He's out $2,500 because you couldn't make the payments on the car.
Okay, whenever I got the car, he came, woke me up one morning and said, Mama, you want a car? And I'm like, well, I would like one, but I can wait for my money to come in. Because I didn't want a car note, really, because I really didn't make enough for a car note and insurance and everything else. So I said, I'll wait. And he goes, well, Mom, I got him on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And I'm like, Brandon, I don't want a car right now.
That's not true.
It would be nice
to
have a car.
Just a second. You know what happens, unfortunately, Miss Nixon, to some people when they're telling a lie? They get blotches on their
I know,
chest.
I just get nervous.
No. A man that's supporting a wife and child and supporting a sister and another sister and two children and a mother who I'm sure doesn't make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, doesn't come in and twist his mother's arm to get a car. Baloney. You're not supposed to put your children in debt because you don't work. That's not what mothers are supposed to do.
I did not want the car. I told him I would wait.
Then you shouldn't have taken it. You're 46 years old.
He went to the car dealership
Without
and said,
you.
I'm going to...
Just a second. Without you?
He went with me.
Did he drag you there? Miss Nixon, did he drag you there?
No, he said he wanted to go pick out him something.
Miss Nixon, you are so full of baloney. You owe him $2,400 first for that. What else does she owe you for, sir?
Whenever she was in Washington State, she was supposed to be gone for only a week and a half. She had two jobs, working at Walmart and working at Sears. She went to Washington on a one-way ticket to see my friend, and she was gone.
What was she doing seeing your friend?
They were talking on MySpace kind of thing, and...
So a boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
She was grieving and went to see a boyfriend. How long was she gone?
She was gone for 3 months.
3 months? This was, I assume, before she got the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And I was contacted by a Sergeant Mouton of the Calvert Parish Sheriff's Department looking for her. I was then like, what does she do now? So I call her, tell her what's going on. Apparently she had had some checks that she had written back $6.97 for very little, like $25, $30, however they just caught up with her. And they were looking for her to satisfy those checks. Then when she came back, I still supported her, tried to get her through the hard times. She just didn't take the hint, and I was getting just really tired of it.
How much money did it take to clear the checks?
$150.
Did you tell your mother about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Who cleared the checks, you or your mother?
I did.
Where was she when you cleared the checks?
Being arrested at the time.
Is that right?
Well, not exactly. Like, I'm,
She's not a horrible mother.
No.
Did he pay $150 to
From
get you
selling
out?
the cabinets that he sold out of my house. I was upset at him. He gave away everything.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Everything in my house, he gave away my cabinets.
Just a second. Give me the month and year he gave away.
February.
February of what year?
Of this year.
And when did you move out of the trailer?
I moved out in July.
You couldn't have been that upset.
Well, no, I'm not going to disown my child. I'm not going to do that to him.
You couldn't have been that upset. If he gave away the stuff in February, you didn't sue him. March, you didn't sue him. April, you didn't sue him. May, you didn't sue him. June, you didn't sue him. July, you didn't sue him. August, you didn't sue him. September, you didn't sue him. So if he gave away your stuff, he gave away your stuff. What's next?
The ring.
Whose ring is it?
Mine.
It's actually ours.
No, it's mine.
Well, how did his wife end up with the ring?
I told her and him that I would let them use my ring as a token of because it was special to me.
Just a minute, you told them that you would let them use their ring?
Until he could buy one for her. And if they broke up and she moved out, that I was to get the ring. Yes, ma'am, I'm honored.
Fine. Well, first of all, A, I don't believe you, because I think that that's a lot of baloney that you just told me. But B, even if what you told me was true. Let's see what you just said. You said you are letting them use the ring until he can buy her a new one, which he can't. Or until they break up, which they have not. Or if she moves out, which she has not.
But she did in between this time.
Oh, tell me when.
She moved out.
Just tell me when.
She moved out during the summertime.
Did you sue her then?
No, I didn't.
Goodbye, Miss Nixon. You got a problem. You owe your son $2,550. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Rebecca Castillo says former lover Manuel Gonzalez drove her car without permission and wrecked it. Manuel claims Rebecca is making up a story.
Okay, Miss Castillo, it is your claim that Mr. Gonzalez, who was a friend of yours, somehow got hold of your car and caused damage on 3 separate occasions in one night.
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez says that you were so drunk that night that you don't remember that you were driving and you caused the damage to your own car.
Not true.
Right?
Right.
And you are just friends?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I was messing
I don't
around
want to
with her
guess
for a while.
what I'm going to say anything. I'm asking you, are you just friends or are you more than friends?
Yes, we were just friends.
Not intimate?
Yes, we were intimate a couple times.
Well, Bert is my friend. We have never been intimate. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand the difference? How old are you?
Yes, 21.
How old are you?
35.
All right. So that's a little bit of a difference. Okay, so you were intimate friends. That's a new
Yes.
category of friends. There are people who are intimate, then there were friends, and then somewhere in the middle there are intimate friends. You are one of those. When did this assault on your car take place?
June 5th.
Okay. And what were you doing out with Mr. Gonzalez?
Actually, I was home when he called me and asked me to give him and his friend Mike a ride home. And I went.
Why did they need a ride home?
I didn't ask.
And you said, fine, I'll come and pick you up and give you a ride home.
Sure.
Keep going.
When I got to the restaurant, the establishment, he was there with 3 other gentlemen. They were there eating and drinking, and I ordered a margarita, and we were there for about an hour and a half.
How many margaritas did you have?
Just 1, Your Honor. And then from there, they wanted to take off, and we went to a billiards place where we were there only a half hour. I played billiards with one of the other gentlemen that was there with them. They wanted to leave. We went to another local establishment, a local bar.
So you were playing chauffeur that night?
Pretty much.
So the reason for the phone call was you guys wanted to drink and you needed somebody to
Drive us.
chauffeur you around.
Yes.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
What did you say to her?
I asked her for a ride because we had all been drinking.
Well, a ride to take you home is one thing. A ride to schlep you from one place to another so you could continue to drink is something entirely different.
Oh, well, we planned on going home. But when she got there, she started drinking with us, and we said, well, you feel like going somewhere else? She said, yeah, so we went.
Keep going, Miss Castillo.
When we left that establishment, we dropped off his other friend, the one that they went in a car with, to his car, to his vehicle, and from there I went to a local gas station. And I went there, I got off, left the keys in the ignition, paid gas to the pump where I was parked at. When I came out, my car was gone. I panicked. I was looking around the parking lot, looking to see where they were. I gave them time. I'm thinking maybe it's a practical joke. Maybe they're out there looking at me, freaking out. I gave them about 15, 20 minutes, and at that point, I had dialed 911 to report the car stolen. When I looked up, he was driving back in the car with his friend still in the car. I was yelling at him. He refused to get out of the driver's side and said he was going to drive himself and his friends home. Said, fine. I pumped the gas in my car, got in the passenger side, and he drove his first friend home. He drove recklessly to the point where that friend didn't even wait till the car came to a complete stop. He literally jumped out of the car before he stopped the car in motion. Okay, and he tells me that's what you get for hanging out with a 21-year-old. He yells that through the window.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah. He speeds off, and I'm yelling and telling him to stop, get out of the car. He doesn't get off the car. Drives down a road where there's construction on both sides of the road. There's bolted cones with concrete dividers on both sides of the road. He's driving recklessly. He's hitting these cones. I counted 8. When I seen him headed towards the concrete divider, I literally had to put my hand on the steering wheel to avoid a real major crash. When I did that, he still didn't stop. He had all green lights for whatever reason. We drove to his house. We go into his house. I told him I wanted some resolve. I wanted something in writing. He tells me to go wait.
Just a second. You went into his house. And what happened when you got into his house?
We were talking.
Look at me. Now here, you see, I can tell when somebody is not giving me the accurate story. So don't start embellishing now what you think you want to tell me. What happened when you went into his house?
We talked. I told him I wanted...
What did you say to him?
I told him I wanted something in writing. I asked him, how are we going to handle the situation?
What situation?
about him hitting the car. I hadn't seen the damages to the car yet. I knew he was hitting the pylons, and I knew he had already hit, there was some damage, but I hadn't actually inspected the car at this point. So then he brushes me off, goes into the back room, talks to his friend Mike, then he tells me to wait for him in my car outside, and we'll talk some more. So there I go. I walked outside of the house, went into the car, sat in my car, and at this point I see him getting in Mike's car, and they're driving away. So I turned on my car, I followed them to an apartment complex all the way across town. And at this point, I'm looking for my cell phone, which I couldn't find, somewhere on the floor.
Because you were drunk?
That's not true. And when we got there, I followed them to a dead end, and I had to back up. I backed up so that they can straighten out. They were there in the car for about 5 minutes, and then Mr. Gonzalez gets off the car, comes towards my car. In the meantime, his friend Mike drives off, tells me to move over so we could talk. Then he's telling me that he had no reason to bow down to me like I was some princess, that that's the reason why he doesn't have a valid license, because he can't drive. And he puts the car in reverse, backs it into the wall, then he drives off.
So you let him get into the driver's side of the car, according to you, and you moved over. I assume you have a bench seat in the front?
It's not a bench seat, no.
What is
Two
it?
separate seats.
Two separate seats. So you had to crawl over, and where's the whatever?
It's right there in the
shift?
center.
It's in the middle.
It's in the middle.
Yeah.
So you had to sort of get your leg over there, and he opened up the driver's side, unless you got out of the driver's side and walked around to the passenger side. So you scooted over somehow. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I did.
You scooted over somehow and let him in.
I didn't have a choice. He was practically sitting on my lap.
Miss Castillo.
Well, I still scooted over.
Miss Castillo, my dear. You're a 35-year-old woman. You had a choice. As soon as he got to his house and you dropped him off, instead of following him across town to an apartment complex in a dead-end street, you call 911. And you say, this man got into my car, took my car, damaged my car. I want to report the damage to my car. Because according to you, you went into his house, Miss Castillo, to get him to sign a piece of paper. Did he sign it?
No.
Should have had some clue that he was not going to take responsibility for what he had done to your car. Is that right?
No.
You thought he was going to take responsibility, and that's why he got into Mike's car and
no, that's
drove
why
away?
I followed him, because I didn't know if he was going to drop him off somewhere and disappear. But when I tried to look for my cell phone, I couldn't find it. It wasn't on in my purse.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, go.
My turn?
That's why I'm looking at you.
Yeah, after we left the first establishment, we went to another bar. We did have about 3 pictures. When we left, she asked me to drive because she had been drinking. I said, no, there's no way I'm going to drive. I have a DUI. I'll pick up another one, and I'm in trouble.
I don't want you to speak.
So I told her no. She asked everybody to drive, actually, but she pestered me about it. I didn't drive. When we went to the gas station, nobody took her car. She came back, put gas. We dropped off my friend. We dropped off another friend, went to our house. She followed me inside, and we were there for about 2 hours. And she didn't ask me
What were you
about...
doing it for the 2 hours in your house?
We were playing intimate friendship. And after that...
You're a fast learner.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Then after that, I told her to leave because we had to drop off one of my buddy Mike's girlfriend that had just got there. And I didn't want to see her anymore. And she got upset and was telling me things about me and her. And I told her, I'm not with you. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to have nothing to do with you.
This is after you played intimate friendship?
Yes. Of course. And then after that, she went to her car. We left. About halfway to our destination, we realized she was following us. We turned into the apartments where we were supposed to be. She followed us in, and you have to turn like zigzag. So we parked on the side, and as soon as she came in, I got off the car and told her why she was following me, and I was pretty upset. While she mashes out in reverse, boom, hits a wall, and I ran around the side of the car to the driver's side because I was pissed. I was telling her things, you know, I probably shouldn't have been saying. But then she takes off forward and hits the front side of her car on one of those big poles.
Okay. Now, I see that you have something over there, Miss Castillo. I'd like you to tell me what it is.
This is a tape recorder where he leaves me a voice message the day after the incident where he admits he took off in my car without me.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. That I would like to hear, and I would like you to give it to Officer Burtz because I want to listen to it very carefully. You wouldn't have done that, sir.
No.
Is that right?
No, that's not my voice.
Oh. Let's see.
076. Received June 6th at 7:19.
Hey, when I left you yesterday, when you left at the night, your car was fine. I don't know what you're tripping on. I didn't do nothing to your car. I didn't hit nothing, and after I took off, I only took off once without you. And when I came back, your car was fine. I didn't hit nothing, so I don't know why you're going to be mad at me. But if you're all right, then late.
Erase.
That is your voice, Mr. Gonzalez?
That is not my voice.
Sure it is.
Does that even admit that I was driving?
Yeah, it said that I only took off in your car once, and I didn't do any damage to your car.
Well, that wasn't me. I haven't driven.
I only took
time.
off. Listen to me. This is what it says.
Okay.
And you know what's logical, Mr. Gonzalez, because you're a smart young man.
Yes.
If she was going to falsify this and have somebody else pretend that they were you,
yes,
she would have had this person say, listen, I'm sorry I did all the damage to your car. I'll pay you for it.
Yes.
Wouldn't have had them say, listen, I didn't damage your car. I took off with it once and I brought it back. Nothing happened to it. So I don't know what you're complaining about. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Good. So this is your voice, and you acknowledge that you took off once with her car, but you say, I didn't cause any damage to your car. That I believe. So you see, you shouldn't fib.
Okay.
Because if you fib, then I can doubt everything that you're telling me. Now, Miss Castillo, I don't believe you damaged your car. I think that you were really angry, and I think that if your car got damaged, you did it, or you let him drive your car. Now, if you're going to choose playmates, you got to choose playmates that are somehow equal to you. These young men on that night in June were doing nothing more than using you as a chauffeur. I am not comfortable enough with your story to find that Mr. Gonzalez, as outrageous as his behavior might be, and however morally reprehensible his behavior might be, is responsible for the damage to your car, Ms. Castillo. So your complaint is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you.
Teresa Saavedra is suing Adam Rivas for taking and wrecking her car. In a separate suit, the Benedettos are suing Teresa and Adam for damage to their classic Nissan 300ZX.
Who is Miss Saavedra? And Mr. Rivas?
Right.
Why don't you folks have a seat, please, first, because I'm going to take care of this case first. Miss Saavedra, stand over there, because this case is a little complicated. I'm going to uncomplicate it for everybody. You own a car.
Right.
Or owned a car. What kind of car did you own?
It was a Ford
Speak
Taurus.
up.
Ford Taurus.
Mr. Rivas was your boyfriend?
No.
A friend?
Yeah.
According to your complaint, he stole your car.
Right.
You reported it stolen.
Right.
He was in an accident. Totaled the car?
Correct.
You want him to pay you the value of the car, or $5,000, because it was worth more than $5,000, but that's the limit of small claims court.
Correct.
Mr. Rivas says that he did not steal your car. He borrowed your car. He had an accident that was not his fault, and he shouldn't have to pay for it. That's your defense.
Yes.
These are the people who were involved in the accident. So we'll get to their case in a minute.
Okay.
Because they are suing the two of you. You as the owner of the car, and he is the driver of the car.
Right.
You get it?
I got it.
Correct. So, Mr. Rivas, when did you take the car?
Actually, we drove off the lot together with it, and she gave me the car. It was a gift. It was a gift.
Is what you're telling me, sir, that you drove off the lot the day the car was purchased?
Yes.
Did this accident occur at that time?
No.
How much time passed before the accident happened?
I would say about 3 weeks.
Who purchased the car?
She did.
And in whose name was the car?
Under her name.
Who paid for the car?
She did.
And she gave you the car as a gift?
Well, actually, I gave the down payment, which was like $300 for it.
Why was that, Mr. Rivas?
Because we had an agreement that the car would be mine if she took the car out. And all I would have to do was give the down payment or the deposit for the car.
Ah, I get it. Mr. Rivas, why can't you have a car in your name?
Because I don't have a license.
Why else?
That's it.
Why don't you have a license, Mr. Rivas?
It was revoked.
When?
I was like 17.
How old are you now?
21.
And when did you make this arrangement with Miss Saavedra?
After 2 weeks I met her. We came to an agreement to go to drive time and take out a car.
Now, why would she do that for you if you were just friends?
I don't know, the kindness out of her heart, I guess.
Shh. Now, if I were to call drive time, would they tell me that the two of you were in there together?
Yes.
When was the car purchased, Miss Saavedra?
5/17/04.
From the time you drove the car, sir, May 17th, 2004, until the day of the accident, which was on what date?
It had to be a couple weeks after that. I'm not too sure.
When was the accident, folks?
5/7/04.
So you mean the accident was 5/7/04, and you purchased the car 5/17/04, so somehow that doesn't work out, Ms. Saavedra. Not even in the twilight zone of this courtroom. Purchased the car.
42204.
Mr. Fedra, look at me. Was Mr. Rivas with you at drive time when you purchased the car?
Yes, he was.
All right. You see, none of this was in this paperwork. Do you think you're going to come here and throw some baloney to me that he stole the car?
No.
All right. From April 22nd, 2004 until May 7th, 2004, Mr. Rivas, did you have the car in your possession?
Yes, I did.
And you paid the $300 deposit?
Yes, I did.
Did you pay by check or cash?
It was cash.
Who did you give the cash to?
To the car salesman.
You have a copy of the contract? Yes. Does the contract say that there was a $300 deposit?
Yes, right here.
And does it say the $300 deposit was in cash?
No, it does not.
It was by check?
It says the total cost of the purchase is on credit, including your down payment, which is $300. It does not say anywhere about being in cash.
You didn't give him a check, though.
No.
So Mr. Rivas gave him cash.
He never gave anybody money.
Mr. Rivas drove the car out of the lot.
No, he did not.
Did you ever have the car in your possession from April 22nd until May 7th?
Yes, I did.
When?
The day that I drove it off the lot, and about a couple of days after, and then I stopped, and then I met up with him, and then we...
What do you mean you stopped?
I just thought I wasn't able to go. I didn't go anywhere, so I was in my house. And then he called threatening me to kill me. So then I...
Mr. Fedra, do you think that I believe anything of what you're telling me now? I believe him. I believe him that you went to this drive time, because you didn't tell me anything about that in the paper. What you said in your complaint was he stole your car, and you reported the car stolen. And that's not what happened, is it?
It is.
That's not really what happened, is it?
No, it is what happened. I have a police report and everything that I had made.
On what date?
5/14/04.
On the 14th of May?
Yes.
That's a week after the accident.
But he had took the car already.
A week after the accident, you reported the car stolen? When did he take the car? Mr. Fedra, don't play around with me. When did he take the car?
I don't know the exact date, ma'am, but I just know he had took the car.
Well, why didn't you...
Show
just a second. Why didn't you report it stolen the day he took the car?
I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And I had called him on his cell phone telling him he would bring it back, and he said that he will bring it back.
I don't believe you. I think you're full of baloney. I think you entered into a scam with him because you knew he had a suspended license, whether you liked him or not, whatever. I have no idea, nor do I care. But you went... You drove this car out. He took possession of the car. He drove the car. He had an accident, and now you're stuck with the payments. That's what happened. And then a week after the accident, you reported stolen to the police. Now.
Can I say, why would I honestly give anybody my car keys, you know, a brand new car?
Because, Mr. Fedra, I do not believe you had any intention of this being your car. I believe that the intention was for Mr. Rivas to use this car, to make the payments on the car, because he had no license, and he got you as a patsy to put the car in your name. That's what I think happened. And then, when you realized that the car was in an accident and you were going to be in real trouble, a week later, you reported it stolen to the police. You didn't report it stolen a week before the accident. Let me see a copy of the police report.
He would go to my house honking, screaming my name.
I don't believe a word you're saying to me. Not a word, Mr. Fedra. I think you got yourself caught in a scam. You did the wrong thing. That doesn't mean you're relieved, sir. You still drove this car. You had no right driving any car because you had a suspended license.
Yes, I understand that.
Well, where are you going to accept responsibility for that?
Take responsibilities for the car accident.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
It's not what you say here. You tell me that this lady was driving. She was drunk. That's what you said in your answer. I'm going to get to that case in a minute.
Okay.
What about this lady's car? We're not on this case yet. You drove the car. You had no insurance?
No.
Why didn't you pay for insurance?
Because,
Because it wasn't your car.
Correct.
Because it was in her name.
Correct.
Right? So the only one who's going to get stiffed was her, right?
Correct.
How much was the car?
Total cost of the car was $18,569.96.
And you had no insurance?
No.
Well, maximum that this court is allowed to award you, Let me see those papers, Bert, please.
Sure.
Is $5,000. You're on the books for the rest. Do you work?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet?
No.
How old are you?
22.
When are you going to start to work?
I just moved and I quit my job and I moved and I'm looking for a job now.
And what about you?
Not right now. Not at the moment.
Who feeds you?
Myself.
That means that somebody's got to give you money for food.
Well, I'm living under my parents' roof right now, so.
How old are you?
21.
What do your parents do for a living?
They own their own landscaping company.
Good. Are you disabled?
No, no, ma'am.
Then you work for them in cash. Because if they own their own landscaping business, I guarantee you I'm going to find a couple of people whose lawn you mow. Mr. Rivas, do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
On your best day, you're not as smart as we are on our worst day. How many people do you think I'm going to find whose lawns you mow, Mr. Rivas?
Not too sure. Not too sure, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Your father mows people's lawns?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people does he have working for him?
About 10.
Are you on the books of the company? Is not an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you're on the books of the company, then you get money. What's the name of the company?
Rivas Landscaping.
Rivas Landscaping. Very easy.
Yes, ma'am.
You're her $5,000, sir. But it doesn't go to her, it goes to the finance company. Now you can stand over next to him. Because now you're a co-defendant as the owner of the car, who I just figured out was full of baloney when she said the car was stolen. The car was part of a scam. You didn't think it was a scam because you're too young and stupid, but it was a scam. Now you may stand up. Mr. and Mrs. Benedetto?
Yes, ma'am.
On what day was the accident? The 7th of
May.
May?
7th.
No. You want to tell me what happened?
I pulled out of the gas station. When I get gas, I usually toss my wallet in the car. Well, when I got in the car, I drove up the street, and I didn't see my wallet there, so I figured it had bounced. So I pulled over, and when I pulled over...
where?
I pulled over on the side of the street.
Is it a street where you can't pull over? It's where cars are parked?
Right, where you... parking. So I pulled over and got out of the car, went around to see if the wallet had fallen off to the side, because if it hadn't and it had bounced off, then I needed to go back to the gas station. So I put my knee on the seat, and next thing, there was just this big bang on the side of the car, and the car started to go over. In the meantime, I went over to the side as the car was going over.
You weren't in the car? You weren't in the driver's seat?
No, I was in the passenger seat.
You weren't moving at the time?
No, I was not moving.
What happened to your car?
It went over on the side. And
Can I see pictures of it?
Sure.
Who else was in the car with you?
Nobody. It was just me. I was on my way to meet my dad.
This is your husband?
That's my husband, yes.
So he is the co-owner of the car?
He is the owner.
Ooh, that's a nasty hit. I'm listening.
From what I recall, I was going straight down Devonshire, and
where were you going, sir?
I was going home.
From where?
From one of my friend's house down the street.
What were you doing there?
I was just chilling.
What?
Chilling, kicking it.
Oh, your parents must be so proud of you. Go ahead.
And I was driving down Devonshire, and she just pulled out, because I was going straight on, and she pulled out, and I hit her.
Well, she pulled out and you hit her, so you would have hit her in the front. You hit her at the rear of her car. How could you have hit her in the rear if she was pulling out?
Because I guess she was already on her way, and I guess I hit her in the back.
So if she's already on her way and you hit her in the rear, that means you weren't looking where you were going. Maybe you were chilling a little too much, kicking it a little too much with your friend. Maybe you ought to get out there more often and mow a few more lawns. Mr. Rivas, from Rivas Landscaping. When was the last time you filed tax return? It's not an answer.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever filed them.
The police came to the scene, Mr. Rivas. You were arrested, were you not?
Yes, I was.
What were you arrested for, Mr. Rivas?
I was arrested for driving without a license.
What else?
That's it.
You have any other warrants outstanding when you were arrested? It's not an answer, Mr. Rivas.
Yes, I did. I did.
Mr. Rivas, you're still trying to get over on me, sir. I've been a judge longer than you've been born. You think you're an unusual story? You're not. You're just a punk who caused a great deal of trouble for a lot of people because you're not entitled to drive a car if your license is suspended and you have no license. You conned this lady, so now she's in the hole for $13,000. You injured these people, their property. You almost killed her. There's a reason why the government didn't give you a license, sir. Because you shouldn't have one. Because you're an irresponsible baby. Oh. Are you an only child?
No, I'm actually the middle child.
There's also a problem with that. Were you able to have the car fixed or was it totaled?
It was totaled.
What kind of car was it?
1987 300 ZX.
Do you have a Blue Book value for the car?
Blue Book is roughly 3,500.
Can I see that?
I'm sorry, that was 3,400.
Can I see
And
that?
I also have some comparables.
That's all right. I know the car.
I should mention that we did a great deal of additional work in that, the alternator, the water pump.
He's an idiot. What do you want me to do? I can't execute him. The only thing I can do for you is humiliate him a little bit and give you a judgment. What else am I going to do with him? His parents are not going to be proud of him. Revis Landscaping and the people whose lawns he mowed are going to know that he's an idiot. If they see him driving around in a truck, they're going to know he has no right to do that. Anybody who lives in the neighborhood, when they see him driving a car, is going to call the police now and say there's somebody driving without a license, right? Do you understand?
I understand.
There was a reason he was late for court today, right? He was thinking, am I going to be dumb enough to go to court? What's going to happen to me? He had no clue how far it was going to go.
Hopefully he didn't hit anybody else's car on the way over.
Hopefully, sir. Hopefully. I'm not so sure. You got lost on your way coming here, Mr. Rivas?
No, I didn't.
How did you get here today? Is not an answer.
I got a ride.
You got a ride? Who drove you? There's a guard outside. Who drove you?
I don't remember her name.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500, which is a little over the Blue Book value of your car, you are a menace, sir. You don't deserve to be behind the wheel of a car. If anybody in your neighborhood, if anybody in the vicinity sees you behind the wheel of a car, I assume you do not have your driver's license?
No.
Is that right? Call the police, everyone. He's a menace and does not have a driver's license, nor will he probably get one for a very long time. Thank you very much. That's all.
April Franks is suing Angela and Jean Roberts for the return of money she paid for a female Yorkie poo. April says the couple sold her an emotionally damaged animal.
Bert, would you please take the Roberts' little girl outside, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Come with me.
Miss Franks, you purchased a dog, I assume this dog, from the defendants.
Yes.
You called them within 24 hours telling them that the dog had some problems. You wanted to return the dog. You ultimately did return the dog. You want your money back.
Yes.
The Roberts seem to believe that they had no responsibility with regard to the dog's condition that you found that was intolerable for you. And they said that they sold the dog, I assume, as is. This is what you get. Mrs. Roberts.
From a breeder in Tupelo.
A breeder?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
It was the end of November, 2007.
Do you have the date?
Not the exact date.
Was it after Thanksgiving?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's give it a date of the 28th of November. And I assume you bought the dog because you have one young child?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she go with you to the breeder?
No, ma'am.
You and your husband went?
Just my husband.
You went?
Yes, ma'am.
How many dogs did the breeder have for sale?
I have no idea how many he had to sell. I think 2. And this is the
How many did you see?
I met him in a town in between where we lived, and he just brought Carly here.
So you didn't go to the breeder's house?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know where he got the dog from?
No, ma'am.
Did you find this person on the internet?
No, in an ad in the Trade Winds paper, a sales paper that we have in our area.
And he told you he had a dog?
Right.
And don't come to my house, I'll meet you halfway, or I'll meet you someplace.
Right.
And they gave you the dog. Did he tell you how old the dog was?
Yes, ma'am.
How old did he say?
At the time, she was 18 months.
And how much did you pay for this 18-month-old dog?
$200.
Did he say why he was selling an 18-month-old dog?
No. he didn't.
Did you discuss this with your wife before you went?
I spoke to the gentleman on the phone about her.
And what did the gentleman, I'm just curious, so even though I'm not taking this for the truth of it, I'd like to know what the gentleman told you about this dog.
He told me that he had 31 dogs, and he was trying to downsize on some of his dogs, and that she had already been bred once, and she had 6 puppies at the time, and he thought it was too many for her, and he was going to sell her and her sister. And he was originally trying to sell both of the dogs, her and her sister. I do not know anything about the other dog. And I told him that we were only interested in buying 1 dog instead of 2, and he said that he would split them up and sell her to us. And we did discuss whether to come to his house or not, but he decided that he
didn't want you at the house if it's in fact true that he had 31 dogs.
Probably.
Probably. Did he want cash or a check?
We just gave him cash. That's all we had.
Of course. So you gave him cash, and then you bring the dog home, and what happened, Miss Roberts?
She was a nervous dog. She shook for probably the first month we owned her.
1 month she shook?
Yes, ma'am. And after about a month, when we were around her, she stopped shaking. But the only thing that she ever did the entire time we've ever had her is just sit in your lap. Even after sitting in your lap for a long period of time, she wouldn't indicate that she would want to get down and go eat. We'd have to take her back there to the room we keep her in at night, and she'd eat and take care of her business, and then after that she would scratch on the door, give a little bit of a whining whimper, and want to come out and sit back in your lap again. We tried to get her to play because we did buy her for my 9-year-old. She wanted a little dog to play with. And she's just not a playful dog. She's just a lap dog. So
she's probably from a puppy mill.
Well, when we took her to the vet, that's what he said. He said that either being in a kennel, he said either being in a kennel,
caged in a kennel, and probably came from a puppy mill.
Yes.
So what did you do?
Well, we held on to her for a little bit longer, hoping that maybe she would come out of her shell a little bit and play. And when we were convinced after about 3 months of owning her, she was not ever going to be the playful dog for our daughter that we
So now she's
saw.
almost 2 years old.
Yes, ma'am. And after that, we decided that what we would do was try to sell her so that we could take that money and buy a playful puppy for my child.
So you put an ad in the paper?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the ad say?
It's right here.
What does it say?
Says, CKC Yorkie Poo female, small dog, approximately 1.5 years old, 5 to 6 pounds, good health, mostly house trained, 400, call my husband, and our phone number listed.
That's not the ad that I responded to.
Can I see the ad that you
responded
responded
to?
to?
It's highlighted in pink. I was in Columbus only.
Yorkie Poo, CKC, I don't know what that means because they're not AKC registered because she's a mixed breed.
Yes, ma'am, it's Continental Kennel Club.
Approximately 1 year old.
Which she's approximately.
Do I look like I'm needing help from you?
No.
Approximately 1 year old, mostly housebroken, good health, small, 5 to 6 pounds, $400. Ask for Jean. Is that you?
That's my husband.
That's you. Well, that's the ad. Trade Winds Classified.
This one is the Trading Post. We did take one out in the Trading Post and the Trade
this is
Winds.
the one she responded to. So immediately your ad is wrong because the dog was not a year old.
I guess so.
And you were asking for this dog that is now older and you know has certain problems twice as much as what you paid for it.
Correct.
Okay. So you came to the house and?
I went to their house. Carly was sitting in a recliner. She didn't get up or anything when I walked in. She got her and she put on the ground on the floor and she walked around and I oohed and awed over for a few minutes. She was shaking and Angie told me it was because, you know, she didn't like strangers is what she said. And so, you know, I said, okay, you know, that could be possible. And I petted her and picked her up and I said that I wanted to get her. And so I left her house. I went to the ATM machine and I withdrew $400 and I went right back and I gave her the money when I got back. She had the CKC certification paper, her pamper pads because she's not housebroken or mostly at all, and a doggy soap.
Just 1 second. Are you telling me that you had this dog for 3 months and the dog wasn't housebroken?
She's puppy pad trained, which I consider mostly housebroken because she only goes on the puppy pads.
No. It's probably one of the reasons that you wanted out of the dog. Because the dog was a puppy mill dog. The dog was not used to being in a house and being let out. Yeah, sure it is. Okay, you returned the dog when?
That evening after I left, I went to Walmart and I bought food for her. I bought her a bed and some toys. And, you know, the night progressed and she just wasn't acting like I thought she would act. I'm not a professional. So the next morning, I said the best thing I'm going to do is take Carly to the vet. So I took her to the vet, which the office where Amy works, and the vet examined the dog, and I have an animal report here.
I'd like to see it, please.
As well as the invoice.
On February 26, 2008, I examined the above-listed animal because of a complaint of severe emotional issues. The animal would crouch down in the corner and urinate all over itself when touched. It was my opinion that the animal was experiencing fear, anxiety, and the owner would be better off returning the animal to the previous owner. Animals exhibiting such fear, anxiety have special needs that the average pet owner usually is unable to give.
The time we took the dog to the vet was after the fact that April returned her.
They just took the dog to the vet.
Shh. You mean you never took the dog to the vet when you got her?
She never urinated on herself or crouched down in the corner.
I'm just asking you why you never took the dog to the vet.
No, ma'am.
Have either of you ever had pets before?
We have quite a few.
Well, then you knew that this dog's behavior was most unusual.
I was told by several other people, we've never had a small dog like this before.
Right. You have to give her money back. Stop nonsense. You try to unload the dog on somebody else for twice as much as what you paid for it. I mean, usually when a breeder wants to unload an 18-month-old or a 19-month-old dog, they usually give them away to try to find good homes. This guy found a sucker who was willing to pay $200 for it. That doesn't mean that you, when you have the dog, I mean, you're supposed to be reputable people. I don't know about this person who's running a puppy mill, but you're supposed to be reputable people. That means that you got stuck. I'm going to find somebody else to stick with this dog and charge him twice as much.
Right.
That's outrageous. You have the dog? Give her back the papers, please. You owe her $400. That's all.
Why does that